It's Monday, October 6th. Today, sparking debate. Winnipeg and other city councillors take a look at the rules around fireworks. The Prime Minister prepares for a trip to Washington. What political experts are saying ahead of the trade meeting between Mark Carney and Donald Trump. And tipping the scales, how much the winner of this year's giant pumpkin Way Off in Roland outweighed the competition. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Winnipeg and Manitoba. Happy Monday. Thanks for being with us. I'm here today for Rochelle Legacy. Terry Postle's here as always.
Good morning.
I love a rainy weekend, Terry.
We were just talking about this, the permission that it gives you to just do nothing.
I just also realized I called you Terry Apostle because this is my first time on air, not calling you Terry Gale.
It's so new to me that I didn't even notice. Thank you, Terry Gale.
Yes, what a gorgeous weekend for those of like me who love a rainy weekend. Got there enjoying. Wonder though if Mother Nature's done serving up all that rain, Terry.
Oof. It was like wild, wasn't it? Yeah, we got so much rain over the weekend. We are looking at a much drier week ahead now, so an opportunity to kind of get our heads back above water. But here in Winnipeg, we got about 30 millimeters, and other parts of the province saw even more. So yeah, certainly a deluge through the weekend itself, but now it's dry and cool. Oof, 3 degrees. That's where we begin with winds out of the west, 15 kilometers per hour, the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 95%. Clear, cold. That's how we're kicking things off this morning. I shouldn't say cold. I mean, we're actually still close to what is seasonal or maybe even slightly above. I think 2 degrees, a normal low temperature right now. So coming in at 3, we're still winning that game, but it is certainly chilly with the clear conditions this morning, but that might not last through the day. Here's a look at the futurecast and you'll see what I'm talking about while we're right now on the clearer side with just the last little bits of precipitation off to the east. Look what northern Manitoba is seeing. Yeah, those change up in temperatures. It's October after all. Flurries moving across parts of northern Manitoba that will continue through the day in the most northern stretch. Other parts of more central Manitoba will be seeing that precipitation in more liquid form. Well, it's clear for us now that might not last because we've got some clouds building up through the day today and heavier clouds then sticking around into the evening overnight. It starts to clear out across parts of northern Manitoba this evening. For us, that clearing will come for tomorrow, back to the sunshine again, and mainly sunny conditions are then expected throughout most of this week, at least here in the south, central and northern Manitoba. We'll continue to see a few more clouds later this week, maybe even a bit of precipitation. We will get back to warmer temperatures. We do have a bit of a chilly start to the week, but temperatures will rebound and some warmer days ahead.
Thank you, Terry Gale. A man was arrested after an alleged armed and random home invasion. Around 5:30 a.m. on Friday, a couple was at their home in the 1-99 block of Bayfield Avenue in St. Vital. That's when the couple heard someone banging on their front door. When they opened the door, an unknown man pushed his way into their home. The man was allegedly armed with a butcher knife and threatened to stab the couple. Police arrived and arrested the man, and no one was injured. The 35-year-old man is now facing weapons threats, break-and-enter, and commit robbery charges. He was detained in custody. None of the charges have been tested in court. A city councillor wants Winnipeg to look at new rules around fireworks. Waverley West Councillor Janice Lukes has put forward a motion which would see the public service explore how other cities handle the issue. Specifically, it's looking for a list of cities where the sale or use of fireworks are banned, what the fines are, and what rules are in place governing their use. Currently, a permit is required to set off fireworks within the city, and the permit holder must agree to certain safety conditions. The relationship between Canada and the U.S. will be front and center this week as the Prime Minister heads to Washington. CTV's Colton Prail reports on why some political experts are calling this a trip into the lion's den that Mark Carney has to make.
Prime Minister.
As Mark Carney prepares for a sit-down with Donald Trump in Washington, He does so under the weight of his own expectations.
He does need to show some progress. The fact that there hasn't been any progress after missing deadline after deadline does make Canadians sort of wonder.
Carney campaigned on his strength as a negotiator, and some in Washington say he'll need to use those skills if he hopes to find any tariff relief, with the U.S. president likely to look for more concessions from Canada on trade and national security issues.
I think those are some of the toughest issues that we would have expected to see play out in a USMCA or CUSMA review process, but actually are likely to get ironed out much in advance of that.
Sources in the federal government tell CTV News they're cautiously optimistic Canada could see some relief on steel and aluminum tariffs, and are willing to brave the president's volatility to achieve it.
From his point of view, it's better to take the risk of political failure and go to Washington and meet with President Trump rather than sit in Ottawa and hope that something comes to him.
It comes as Pierre Poilievre has held back on attacking Carney's handling of Trump, instead focusing on domestic issues like crime and affordability. Friday, Poilievre posting on social media that he hopes Mark Carney will keep his promise and negotiate a win.
This is for the Prime Minister to deliver or fail. And it becomes, in political terms, a very heavy anchor, political anchor for the Prime Minister if he fails. It will drag him down.
Industry and political experts that CTV News has spoken to are skeptical that a trade deal will be reached on Tuesday, with one former White House official saying they expect talks to focus on security issues, like the wars in Ukraine and Gaza.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is pushing a motion hoping to strengthen the bail system for violent and organized crime.
Some police tell me they arrest the same guy 3 times in a day. The same guy. Because he's been released, he's brought back, he's released again.
Poilievre says under the current Liberal rules, repeat offenders are getting released too often, leading to tragic and sometimes deadly incidents. The Toronto Police Association and End Violence Everywhere are two of the groups that have thrown their support behind the bill. Parliament is set to vote this week on whether to fast-track the Jail Not Bail Act. California's governor is vowing to sue the U.S. president after Donald Trump deployed California National Guard troops to Oregon. It comes after protesters and police clashed outside an ICE facility in Portland Saturday night. Trump's move comes in the wake of a federal judge denying him the authority to deploy Oregon's National Guard to the city. Get ready to shell out a little more for your cup of Tim Hortons. The iconic Canadian coffee chain says it's raising coffee prices for the first time in 3 years. The cost of that cup of joe will go up 1.5%, or an average of 3 cents a cup. According to Tim Hortons, the cost of its coffee beans has more than doubled, contributing to the price hike. A beloved Winnipeg restaurant is closing its doors after more than 4 decades of serving up prime rib and martinis. The owners of Maxime's Restaurant and Lounge announced in a social media post they've decided to retire. The restaurant's land and building on St. Mary's Road have been sold, and they plan to close in the coming weeks. In the post, the family thanked its staff and many guests, writing, quote, "Their journey has been one of extreme love and labor." The family restaurant first opened its doors in 1984. It will close for good in the 3rd week of November. The 190th edition of Oktoberfest officially came to a close in Munich on Sunday. Officials say around 6.5 million guests took part in the festivities. In turn, they drank a combined 6.5 million liters or so of beer. They also enjoyed some traditional foods like chicken and gingerbread. While it's become a staple of German cultural celebrations, the festival started as part of celebrations of the Bavarian Crown Prince's wedding in 1810. Pumpkin fans packed the Roland Arena on Saturday for a fall tradition that's big in every sense. Yes, the Roland Pumpkin Fair returned with family-friendly fun, including a petting zoo, magic show, pumpkin drop, and the main event, a giant pumpkin way off. Charlie Bernstrom of Lancaster, Minnesota, took home the title again this year at 1,715 pounds, and that is after winning last year with a 2,004-pound pumpkin. The champion pumpkin's name is Kevin McAllister, named after the character from Home Alone.
So Harper, our 3-year-old, watches Home Alone almost every day, and she'll do she goes like this, and so yeah, so she named it Kevin. Each year, each girl gets to name a pumpkin, and that's what Harper named hers.
Second place was by Corny Banman from the Arm of Stanley with 1,522 pounds. Bernstrom says he never pre-weighs his pumpkin, adding to the surprise. He says the best part of growing giants is the people, especially seeing and chatting with fellow growers in weigh-offs year after year. Taking a look at the current traffic situation on St. Mary's Road, Winnipeg police tell us there is a traffic blockage in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse due to a nearby fire. Well, so you'll want to avoid that area. And at this time, if you have any traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10400. And checking in with CTV's Joseph Bernacki for the first time this morning. And Joseph is learning all about Fire Prevention Week. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Catherine, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, happy Monday for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. As Catherine mentioned, we're talking about Fire Prevention Week, Fire Safety Week, of course, with WFPS. We're at their training facility here on McPhillip Street this morning. I'm standing in front of their camper unit that's had some restoration work done on it that we've had on our show many times throughout the years. Coming up throughout the show today, we're going to be having some important conversations, of course, all about Fire Prevention Week. We're going to be talking about smoke alarm safety, of course, how to dispose of those lithium-ion batteries safely, as well as having an escape route planned in your house or place of business, of course, should a fire take place. Very important information, of course, to have. Coming up later in the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to be speaking with a public education officer with WFPS, kind of giving an overview of what this week means, where else this camper trailer unit's going to be heading out to this week, of course. So stay tuned for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg. We'll be coming back shortly.
All right, thanks for that, Joseph. Checking in with Terry Gale up on the roof. Terry, rainy, gloomy weekend. I personally enjoyed it, but, you know, wondering what Mother Nature has coming up this week.
This week is going to look nothing at all like what this last weekend did. I mean, all of that rain, that has now passed, and we're looking at much drier conditions. It's chilly, though, to kick off your morning. I had to reach for, like, the coat that you keep for a different season. And Director Kim was telling me now she scoots into work. She has a heated vest. This is a thing. A heated vest. I don't know if it's battery powered or what, but she's got a heated vest. For those of us that don't have heated vests, you just might want to throw those extra layers on from that part of your closet. It is cool out here this morning at just 3 degrees, and we're probably not going to be making massive gains today. Just barely into the double digits is where we're headed this afternoon. It's clear out here for now, but that too is likely to change. We're going to see some clouds building up throughout the day today, but no sign of precipitation here through much of southern Manitoba. A bit of a different story across parts of northern Manitoba. You could be seeing some flurries passing through in parts of central Manitoba. Some showers possible for you. Here in the south, we will get those clouds, but I think we're done with the rain for now. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
Welcome back at 6:15. Top officials are converging on the Middle East for key talks today between Hamas and Israel in Egypt. Despite new hope for a possible end to the nearly 2-year-long war, the fighting has not let up in the past few days, even after President Trump warned Israel to stop bombing Gaza. CTV's Jeremy Sharon has more on the anticipation for a deal.
Amid the smoke and rubble, a sliver of hope for this Palestinian man. We ask God to stop the war because we are exhausted, he said. As ceasefire hopes grow in the wake of a U.S.-led peace deal plan, both Israel and Hamas have shown willingness to accept at least parts of.
It's a great deal for Israel. It's a great deal for the entire Arab world, Muslim world, and world. So we're very happy about it.
When do you think the hostages will start being freed?
I think very soon. They're in negotiation right now as we speak.
Indirect negotiations between Israel and Hamas are set to take part in Egypt Monday. Key to Trump's plan, Hamas would release all of the remaining hostages, give up power in Gaza, and disarm. In return, Israel would halt its offensive and withdraw from much of the territory.
Still, of course, there are lots of doubts and concerns whether it's going to take place. But as you can understand, there is a very strong sense of anticipation.
That anticipation evident here outside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's residence, where anxious relatives of hostages gathered.
The world must apply maximum pressure on Hamas to commit to this historic opportunity for peace.
All that work, that's going to be hard.
U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio called this the closest negotiators have come to getting all the hostages released, but signaled a full peace deal will still take more work.
What happens after Israel pulls back to the yellow line and potentially beyond that as this thing develops? How do you create this Palestinian technocratic leadership that's not Hamas, that's not terrorists?
Talks in Egypt are expected to focus on the proposed exchange of Israeli hostages for Palestinian prisoners held by Israel, with the hopes of finalizing an agreement in the coming days.
The city of Winnipeg wants to make it easier to remove graffiti from vacant buildings. A motion making its way through City Hall would permit city crews to enter onto a property to remove graffiti and then add the cost to the owner's taxes. Right now, the city can only remove graffiti from vacant buildings with the owner's permission, or if the owner doesn't successfully appeal a compliance order. Last year, the city removed more than 69,000 square meters of graffiti from 7,500 separate sites. Canada's Secretary of State for Defence Procurement says there is no new timeline for Ottawa to make a decision about purchasing F-35 fighter jets from the U.S. Stephen Furr made the comments on CTV's Question Period.
Canada will stand on its own feet. We'll work with Americans where we can, and we'll stand on our own 2 feet where we have to. This is an important decision for us. Like I had mentioned earlier, if you saw it, we're under contract for 16 planes. The airplanes are in various stages of being manufactured at the supplier in the U.S. No decision's been made. It's a very complicated, file, and the Prime Minister will make a decision when he's ready. So this second sober look at what we're going to do moving forward isn't slowing anything down, and we'll take the time we need to get the decision right.
In 2023, Canada inked a deal with the U.S. to purchase 88 F-35 fighter jets. An initial batch of 16 planes is currently in production. However, in the spring, Ottawa indicated it was reviewing the deal. Critics have expressed concern that Canada going back on the deal could create more friction in the defense alliance between the two countries. British police are investigating an arson attack on a mosque in the town of Peacehaven, south of London. Police are looking for 2 suspects who allegedly lit the mosque on fire while 2 people were inside. They were able to escape unharmed. It comes just days after a deadly attack on a synagogue in Manchester. A vaccine to protect young elephants is ready for a wider rollout. The vaccine is for EEHV, a disease that can be deadly within 24 hours of showing up. A proof of concept trial found the treatment safe whilst triggering strong immune responses. Right now, the shots are designed to be used in zoos and sanctuaries. Researchers are working on options for elephants in the wild. A dog park in South St. Vital hosted a fall potty this weekend. See what I did there? The city officials opened a new shade shelter at Maple Grove Dog Park on Saturday afternoon. City councillors joined members of the Maple Grove Dog Park Dog Owners Association to mark the occasion. The shelter will give park users a place to take cover from rough weather. Councillor Janice Luke says the new feature strengthens the park's role as a community hub.
I love dogs. We're at a dog park. People love dogs. Why not add an amenity like this? And it's for anyone to come. And this amenity, actually, we're putting in solar lighting, too, so that in the evenings, in the winter, it's very dark out here, but people can run their dog in this area. They can sit down, hang out, and it's illuminated. So
the project cost just over $90,000. Most of the funding came from the St. Norbert Seine River Ward, while Waverly West contributed $8,500. Taking a look at the current traffic situation once again along St. Mary's Road. Winnipeg police tell us there is a traffic blockade in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse due to a nearby fire, so you will want to avoid this area at this time. Meanwhile, if you have any traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
I did hear what you did there with that dog potty, Catherine, and immediately all I thought was I wouldn't want to be on cleanup crew after that particular potty. Here's a look right now through Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. See, that's the problem when you don't see it phonetically and you only hear it audibly. Anyway, let's take a look at these numbers this morning because it is a cool start to your day. At 3 degrees, it feels chilly out there, so much so that I was saying Director Kim wore her heated vest. But in fact, 2 degrees would be a normal low, so we're only seeing a return to what is normal for this time of year. A little bit cooler, though, over here in the western part of the province, just below the freezing mark for Roblin and Melita, -1 for you or Brandon, a cool 0 degrees. Northern Manitoba, you've got some temperatures that are right around the freezing mark as well. Places like Lynn Lake, Thompson, Gillam, and then there's Churchill at 1 degree. You've got some precipitation coming in mixed form. Thankfully for us, with these temperatures as cool as they are this morning, all of that precipitation from the weekend has moved on. And it is fairly clear at this time, but that may change with the clouds expected to build up through the day today. But the precipitation will be staying in areas through central and northern Manitoba, not necessarily here across the south. We will see the clouds building up, though, as I mentioned, and the temperatures, well, they're going to remain slightly below seasonal, with 13 degrees being normal for this time of year. We're not going to quite get there. We'll be close. 4 degrees as kids settle into the classroom. 9 degrees by noontime. They're going to want to keep that extra layer on even as they're coming home. 11 degrees is our expected high with some heavier clouds this afternoon. 9 degrees, so even cooler yet for tomorrow, but then suddenly we're rebounding again, and we've got some above seasonal temperatures pushing up into those high teens as we finish off the rest of the week. What a gorgeous night to go out and be collecting the pumpkins. That's what Christy was doing in East Selkirk when she snapped this stunner of a photo. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We are giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand, a dream vacation, home renovations, paying off some bills. The possibilities are endless. So today's code word is shop. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Enter the code word SHOP with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. It's only a couple of weeks until Diwali, the Hindu festival of lights. It has a long tradition of using fireworks to mark the occasion. But one Ontario city is considering banning them for all celebrations. And as CTV's Camille Karamali shows us, the issue has sparked a fiery debate in municipalities across the country.
This is what a Diwali celebration usually looks like in Mississauga, Ontario. But the booms and the bangs could soon fizzle out for good.
Good morning, Madam Mayor.
On Wednesday, Mississauga City Council began considering a ban on fireworks for public use after the city received over 600 noise complaints last year covering all the holidays where fireworks are allowed.
Whenever there is a firework event, there are people who take unbelievable advantage of this. Fireworks are happening days before.
Most at this council meeting, though, opposed the ban.
It feels like a blow to cultural dignity.
About 24 of them speaking one.
It's a discrimination against my community.
After another.
It's integral to the celebration.
Here at the Hindu Heritage Center, there is concern the ban impedes on the Hindu community's religious freedoms, with Diwali just around the corner.
So it'd be very oppressive to Hindu beliefs and Hindu values, and especially the culture that's being celebrated for hundreds of years.
Right now, Mississauga allows its residents to set off fireworks with a city permit on 5 holidays, including Diwali, but the rules are different in their neighboring municipalities, with 3 having full fireworks bans, while 3 others only allow them on Canada Day and Victoria Day. Kitchener-Waterloo in Ontario approved a ban earlier this year.
Education is the key, I would argue, not banning.
With little faith, all residents will obey the rules.
If banned, residents won't stop buying. They'll simply drive to Toronto, Oakville, or Burlington.
While others are outright threatening to do this.
We have celebrated in the same way, and we will continue to celebrate in the same way, whatever you do today or tomorrow.
Mississauga City Council is set to vote on the proposed fireworks ban on October 15th, and if approved, the new laws would go into effect in January. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
All right, it is a cool start to your morning at 3 degrees, although we are still above seasonal. Normal lows would be 2. It's clear out there this morning. You can do some moon gazing. It'll be in its fullest stage tomorrow, but it's looking gorgeous and bright right now. With winds out of the west-southwest, 15 kilometers per hour, the pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 96%. And in fact, speaking of the moon, you might want to do the moon gazing right now because we've got some heavier clouds that are going to be moving in throughout the day today that will likely be sticking around overnight. Here's a look right now at the satellite image. You can see the clear conditions that we are waking up to this morning, but central and northern Manitoba has some clouds, and while the precipitation never reads on the northern half of the province, you can expect that there will likely be some, maybe even in mixed form further that you go up into the north. You could have some flurries mixed in with some possible showers throughout the day today. Oof, I know, that time of year. Anyway, 11 degrees is where we're headed, and that's going to be a little bit below seasonal, with 13 degrees being a normal daytime high. We'll be just shy of that mark as the clouds build through the day. Winds out of the southwest will at times be gusting to 40 kilometers per hour, so it will get a little bit breezier with that breeze continuing overnight. The heavier clouds sticking around overnight. This is why I say the moon gazing would be better off this morning than tonight. 1 degree, even cooler yet. And I mean, anytime you're getting around 1 degree, well, we've got parts of southwestern Manitoba at -1 this morning. 9 degrees for tomorrow. We'll see a lot more sunshine, but not a lot more heat until middle of the week. That's when the temperatures bounce back up above seasonal, and they're going to stay there all through the rest of the week and into the coming weekend.
Thanks, Terry. Heavy rain caused the temporary closure of an off-ramp from the St. James Bridge. This was the scene mid-afternoon yesterday on the ramp from the southbound span of the St. James Bridge onto Academy Road. Winnipeg police confirmed that cadets were at the location, directing traffic away from the flooded area. City crews responded to pump away the water and restore access to the roadway. Winnipeg saw rainfall of 30.2 millimeters at the airport. That was until 6:45 p.m. on Sunday. Winnipeg police have identified a suspect in connection to a fatal shooting in the spring, and they're asking for your help tracking him down. 33-year-old Paul Xavier Bonnick is wanted on a Canada-wide warrant for second-degree murder. Investigators say Bonnick may now be somewhere in Ontario. He is considered armed and dangerous, and anyone with information is asked to call the homicide unit or Crime Stoppers. Those outside Winnipeg are asked to call 911. It comes after 39-year-old Ralph Moyes was fatally shot May 23rd in the 300 block of Cumberland Avenue. Hallway medicine has become the norm in some healthcare facilities in this country. New video from inside one Saskatoon hospital is shedding light on just how crowded the situation really is. CTV's Allison Bamford has one family's frustrating ordeal.
3, 4, I think there's 6 beds here, and then there's more on the other side.
Video shows crowded hallways in this Saskatoon hospital lined with patients on stretchers. And for 2 days last week, that's where Lynn Harmon's mother was stuck receiving care.
It literally looked like a natural disaster had just happened.
Harmon shocked to see machines plugged into extension cords, portable dividers, and patients within earshot of others receiving procedures.
There was absolutely no privacy.
From 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., there was 172 people went by her bed.
Tim Lang's mother was treated in the hallway for 4 days after having a stroke.
There's patients were walking barefooted in that hallway. Somebody in the bed next to her got up and he literally peed on the floor.
Hallway medicine typically happens when capacity surges in emergency departments across the country. The Canadian Medical Association calls it unacceptable.
This does not provide the care we want, nor the care that they deserve.
Health officials say several factors contributed to the recent capacity surge in Saskatoon, including an early wave of respiratory viruses.
More people were accessing the emergency department, and they were sicker, resulting in more people being admitted, which created more capacity challenges within our hospital system.
At the peak, the health authority says 42 patients were waiting for a bed, but not all were treated in the hallway, and care wasn't compromised.
She just wanted help, and she got her help that she wanted. But I think we need a little bit more privacy, a little bit more dignity, a little bit more compassion.
Last month, the health authority added 20 new hospital beds in Saskatoon. Another 89 are on the way. But experts say there needs to be an increase in primary care resources to help patients avoid the ER altogether. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The city of Winnipeg showed off new technology Friday that turns traffic lights green when emergency vehicles approach. And as we showed you early last week, the city is expanding its emergency vehicle preemption system.
They're approaching every intersection. They're slowing down, speeding up, slowing down. That start and stop makes a 4-kilometer distance take quite a while. If they can consistently drive at 50 kilometers throughout the distance, they can get about a kilometer further or a minute further of normal driving time.
Here is how the system works. Fire trucks and ambulances are outfitted with a special device that sends cellular and radio signals to receivers installed at intersections. The signal triggers the lights to change, so emergency vehicles can get through more quickly. The city says the technology can reduce response times by as much as 20%. It's also designed to increase safety. The city will equip more than 430 intersections by 2026. The Toronto Blue Jays head to New York with a chance at a sweep after another dominant win over the Yankees.
Short toe, down, and ball. Oh, baby! Goodbye! Vlad Jr. strikes again!
Vladimir Guerrero's grand slam was the first in Jays playoff history. We're talking baseball. The Jays beat the Yankees 13-7. The story of the game, though, really was Trey Savage. 78 pitches, 48 strikes, 5.1 innings, no hits, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts. Fans have today to catch their breath before Game 3 goes tomorrow. Shane Bieber takes the mound for the Jays. First pitch is just after 7 p.m. time Central on Tuesday. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around St. James Bridge. Looks like we have some emergency vehicles there because all lanes are closed on the bridge there due to a collision. So you will need to find another way around. And of course, we told you earlier, a fire is causing traffic issues in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse. If you have any other traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10400. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.34. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26, and the lowest price in the city is $1.22. All this information is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today. Weather is brought to you by MJ the Musical at Centennial Concert Hall, November 5th to 9th.
All right, it's a little bit cool out here this morning, clear as well. I was talking about that beautiful full moon up in the sky, but I also want to talk about my rain gauge. So, of course, we got all of that rain over the weekend. Environment Canada was registering about 30 at the airport, close to 30 millimeters in the Forks area, too. This was my downtown rooftop. I don't know if you can see these. Whoops, which way do I need to walk? Up here. Look at that. Where are we at? 40, over 40? Just over 40 millimeters. And it was even like a little bit cockeyed. Anyway, that's an impressive amount of rain that we got over the weekend, which I think will make the farmers happy. It's certainly making my mums look good. Don't they look good? Yeah, and these cooler temperatures might not make them look so good, though. We'll see how that fares, with us expected to drop right around the freezing mark overnight, or to a cool 1 degree, which, by the way, is pretty close to seasonal. 2 degrees being normal for this time of year. It's going to be a little bit chilly for the next couple of days, warming later this week.
Fire prevention week? 5th. And we're back here with WFPS. Very pleased to be joined by Doug Sinclair. He's Public Education Coordinator with WFPS. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Thank you for having me, Joseph.
Yeah, we're talking about Fire Prevention Week. Of course, a very important week for WFPS throughout the year. For people who are just tuning in and never recognized its importance, why is this such an important week, of course, throughout the year?
Well, just highlight some, fire prevention tips and safety and things like that through this particular week. Of course, we want that to happen throughout the course of the year, but this week highlights fire prevention.
And it kick-started with different fire stations having open houses, was that correct?
Yeah, Saturday was our open houses throughout all City of Winnipeg with fire paramedic service stations, and we had that from noon to 4 on Saturday, which our firefighters saw hundreds of people.
This camper trailer unit just behind us, we've had a chance to feature on our show before. It's got, of course, a brand new look to it. It looks great. Tell our viewers a little bit about what's behind us and its purpose.
This house is it's a fire safety house trailer. Basically, we have the public come through this. You can book this through our website, wfps.ca. And basically, you come in, there's a studio part, which we do presentations on fire safety, and then there's a practical part, which we have artificial smoke, and basically the attendee can go out a window and get to a safe meeting place and call 911 from there. So it's a practical learning tool in regards to fire safety.
And this unit's going to be heading to a few different places this week, is that right?
Yeah, tomorrow we're having our Fire Prevention Week kickoff event. We always pick a school. We highlight a school in Winnipeg, and tomorrow we'll be at Shaughnessy Park School for the day with the Fire Safety House.
And of course, it's got a big educational purpose. In the summertime, it gets quite a bit of usage as well.
Yeah, we can book this trailer, or the public can book this trailer from May till August. It's run by, we have university students. We call them fire safety interns. Essentially, these interns run the Fire Safety House from May until August, and we can book that, and it's free to the public.
Great information, Doug. Of course, Doug's going to be joining us, of course, in the 7 o'clock hour as well, talking about smoke alarm safety, and then later on, how to get rid of your lithium-ion batteries safely. We're going to be having some more important conversations with WFPS. Stay tuned for more conversations on CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones is trading higher overnight. The Nasdaq and S&P index have also made positive gains. The loonie is trending lower, trading at around 71.60 cents U.S. The Hang Seng lost 183 points. The Nikkei index jumped more than 2,100 points. Welcome back. Years after fleeing the war zone, many Ukrainians feel their future in Canada is uncertain. CTV's Alex Karpa spoke with one family who is navigating that challenge while also dealing with a major medical crisis.
10-year-old Kira Hetsi loves art.
This is her work.
She has made several drawings and paintings, including this one, which is one of her favorites.
I like to paint like this.
The last few months, however, have been challenging for Kira. 4 months ago, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor and has already undergone 3 separate surgeries. It's a situation that came as a shock to Angelina and her family.
Oh, this is really hard.
She was forced to leave her job to take care of Kira, who spends all of her time either in the hospital or recovering at home.
She's go to school. Maybe this year she's go to school maybe two weeks.
And leaving her job has put a big financial strain on her family.
Be the same like before. This is really hard and now is rent a little up.
As they deal with financial stresses and Kira's health condition, and Helena said they have another concern, the issue of permanent residency in Canada, which is something thousands of other Ukrainians are also dealing with.
They need some sense of predictability.
The Canada-Ukraine Authorization for Emergency Travel program is set to expire next March, which the Ukrainian-Canadian Congress points out is concerning many people.
The stress of not knowing about your own status here and how long you'll be able to keep working for and supporting your family is certainly one that people think about often.
Hug me.
In the meantime, Angelina says they will do everything they can to help Kira as they navigate her health and their future in this country. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Rescue crews are hard at work this hour trying to free hundreds of hikers trapped by heavy snow on Mount Everest. A snowstorm hit campsites housing hundreds of people on the eastern side of the mountain. About 350 hikers have been guided to safety, and rescuers are in contact with 200 others. The hikers were trapped at an elevation of more than 4,900 meters, which is a little more than halfway up Everest. The snowstorm struck during a week-long national holiday in China known as Golden Week, which is a peak season for local tourism. Quebec's law on planned obsolescence is now in effect. This means manufacturers are no longer allowed to sell items designed to fail after a certain lifespan. Shoppers are supposed to be given the info they need to maintain and fix whatever they buy. Companies also now have to make spare parts as well as repair services available at a reasonable price. Plus, the law sets out an expected lifetime for appliances. A dog park in South St. Vital hosted a fall potty on Saturday afternoon. The city held an official opening ceremony for a new shade shelter at Maple Grove Dog Park. City councilors joined members of the Maple Grove Dog Park Dog Owners Association to mark the occasion. The shelter will give park users a place to take cover from rough weather. Councillor Janice Luke says the new feature strengthens the park's role as a community hub.
I love dogs. We're at a dog park. People love dogs. Why not add an amenity like this? And it's for anyone to come. And this amenity, actually, we're putting in solar lighting, too, so that in the evenings, in the winter, it's very dark out here, but people can run their dog in this area. They can sit down, hang out, and it's illuminated. So
the project cost just over $90,000. Most of the funding came from the St. Norbert Seine River Ward, while Waverly West contributed $8,500. Taking a look at the current traffic situation on St. James Bridge, you see those emergency vehicles there. That's because all northbound lanes are closed due to a collision. So you're going to need to find another way around. And a fire is causing traffic issues in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Oof, yeah, that's some bad news for folks trying to get to the airport this morning. You're going to have to reroute yourself if that's the case. All right, otherwise clear. You can enjoy that extra long route and do some moon gazing along the way. That's what I did on my way into work this morning. Clear conditions for that. 3 degrees right now with winds out of the west-southwest, 15 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 96%. Those clear conditions may not last, though. We'll have them through the morning hours and maybe not much longer than that. You can see there's extra clouds moving through central and northern Manitoba. That will certainly be the case throughout the day today, and along with the clouds comes the possibility of some precipitation in mixed form for many places across northern Manitoba. Flurry shower mixed is possible with these temperatures that are only, once they're reaching their expected highs, going to be about a fistful of degrees above the freezing mark today. So certainly noticing those cooler temperatures right across the province today. And yes, no surprise then, especially with the morning temperatures close to the freezing mark, that you might see a few scattered flurries tucked in there. Here in southern Manitoba, we dealt with the rain all throughout the weekend. Now we're looking at some drier conditions throughout most of this week. It's going to be a little bit windy in places like Dauphin, Brandon. That's the icon that you're seeing there, with winds expected to gust to about 50 kilometers per hour. It'll be breezy here in the southeast, but we're talking about 40k wind gusts, so not quite as strong of winds. But certainly some slightly cooler temperatures than you might expect this time of year, or at least for some, around 13 degrees, and some folks will get there. That's normal for this time of year. Winnipeg might end up just shy of that, around 11 degrees, along with places like Kenora and Dryden, just slightly shy of what you might expect this time of year. But there is a warm up in a few days' time today and tomorrow, even cooler yet. So slightly below seasonal, but there's the rebound with the sunshine expected to last throughout the week.
Checking in with our good pals at 103.1 Virgin Radio. We've got Chrissy, we've got LTI. Okay, I'm excited to talk to you folks about this. I understand there's a new podcast you want to tell us about.
Yeah, there is. So thanks for asking. It's called Been There, Never Done That. So I am hosting it, and it is a Travel Manitoba podcast. It's really, really short. It's about 20 minutes for each episode. And I go and I speak with the people, the tourism owner operators in Manitoba that run all of our favorite attractions. Like, what gets somebody into tourism? What are some of the challenges when it comes to running an attraction in tourism? And these stories are phenomenal. So far, I've spoken with Voyager Houseboats and Falcon Trails Resort and Navigate Pinawa. All three of those stories are so unbelievably unique. So you can listen to them on the iHeartRadio app, or you can also just Google Travel Manitoba Podcast, and it'll pop up. And still to come this season, Dead Horse Cider, which they're doing really cool things out on number 3 Highway, Rose Beach House in Winnipeg Beach, and Turtle Village out in Riding Mountain. And so it's really, really cool. By the way, we should mention that we're the only people that are here today in this office. Yep. Our buddy Bo, he's off in Jamaica. He's left us for the week. And then Ace is off as well, too. Like, he's on the radio with us this morning, but he's at Super Lube Auto Centers. And so if you go to a Super Lube Auto Center for the month of October and you make a donation to Cancer Care Manitoba, they'll give you some of those little pink caps for your tire valves.
I love them so much.
Yeah, or they'll give you a pink toque as well. They raise a ton of money for Cancer Care Manitoba every single October with their pink cap TAPS campaign. So anytime you need that oil change, Super Lube Auto Centers for the month of October. So Ace will be jumping in and joining us live from the location on Pembina Highway.
It's a great campaign, but given the choice, I think I'd rather be in Jamaica than at the Super Lube, based on those two places where your colleagues
That's
are.
fair.
All right, excited to listen to that podcast. Thank you, guys. So while Halloween may not be top of mind for everyone just yet, it certainly was for families in Ottawa on Sunday. Thousands of kids experienced the spirit of Halloween a few weeks early at the annual Ottawa Treat Accessibility Halloween Village. CTV's Camille Wilson was there.
For Sarah LaBelle and Derek Robinson, seeing their little ones participate in Halloween festivities hasn't always been easy.
We've always have found it challenging to be able to go up, and the fact that Jackson's able to get candy himself in his own bag is pretty amazing.
Their kids, Jackson in a wheelchair and Knox, who is autistic, are going door to door at the 4th annual Treat Accessibly Halloween Village in Stittsville.
If people could realize that not everything is accessible, and more people bring their treats down to the end of the driveway, it means so much to families like ours.
The event put on for children with mobility, sensory, and intellectual disabilities.
In 2017, my daughter and I were putting pumpkins on the stairs to our door, and we looked up and we saw a little boy using a wheelchair, and it occurred to us that he couldn't trick-or-treat at our house because of the stairs. So our daughter and I created a lawn sign, which, like you would say today.
Since then, Accessible Halloween Village has grown to other cities and to more than 250,000 homes across Canada.
The fact that we can all do something together, we can all enjoy it together, that's like the big thing. Like, we look forward to it every single year.
The event aims to foster a more inclusive Halloween by bringing together neighbors and families of all abilities.
Being a part of a family that has a child with a disability, it's nice to come here and meet other families that are similar to ours.
And creates barrier-free trick-or-treating stations so all children can participate.
The goal that we have for the future is 1 million homes treating accessibly by 2030, making Halloween the most accessible night of the year in communities, not only in Canada but the world. And we want to show our children that for them we can adapt to anything together.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Taking a check-in on traffic at Confusion Corner, starting to pick up here in terms of traffic volumes. Of course, if you have any traffic tips, you can always text us at 10400. It's Monday, October 6th. Today, Canada-U.S. ties in focus. The Prime Minister heads to Washington as experts warn it could be a trip into the lion's den. Plus, calls to rein in fireworks. Should Winnipeg follow other cities and ban them entirely? And mayor by day, Batman by choice. Scott Gillingham goes full superhero for a great cause. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Monday on Your Morning Winnipeg, 7 a.m. I'm Catherine Dow in for Rochelle Legacy, joined by Terry Gale. We've got tons on the go here, including Fire Prevention Week. That's where we find our Joseph Bernacki this morning, because fires, they happen at a moment's notice. We need to know how to be prepared, how to protect ourselves. Plus, I'm excited about this one. At 7:52, we're going to be learning about an AI actress. Yes, you heard that right. We all hear about AI, and it could be coming to the film world soon, so we're going to get some local reaction. Terry Gale.
I'm just a deep fake sitting next to you.
Yeah, well,
you would never know. Actually, that's what's wild about it.
I know. Well, you deliver the weather so perfectly, Terry Gale, that she can't be real.
Oh, Catherine, welcome. I love having you here. All right, 3 degrees right now. There's clear conditions that we're waking up to. There's got a bit of a chill to the air right now. Winds out of the west-southwest. They're 15 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 96%. So much rain over the weekend. Are you drowning in it? My goodness, there was plenty. Environment Canada was showing 30 millimeters or so around the airport and at the Forks, although I was showing off my rooftop rain gauge that was registering about 40 millimeters. So depending where you're at, I mean, certainly some places, especially Sprague. Sprague got about 60 millimeters of rain, one of the hardest hit areas by what fell over the weekend. But now you can see clear conditions as we're waking up this morning. Although central and northern Manitoba have some clouds, and more than clouds, there's going to be some precipitation again, and perhaps in flurry form, or at least in mixed form. You might see some showers mixed in there as it warms, especially through central Manitoba. It will warm up a little more for you, and you'll see that in more liquid form. We're going to notice the clouds increasing here throughout the south. So even though it's clear this morning, it will likely cloud over later on today. And with the heavier clouds lasting into the overnight hours, some places will start to see some of that clearing. We'll eventually see more of that for tomorrow, getting back to sunnier conditions. But today and tomorrow will still be a little bit cool and a little bit below seasonal. Later this week, though, all of a sudden we're bouncing right back up again. We've got some warmer temperatures expected and no sign of precipitation again until the weekend. So a week to dry out from this past weekend's rain, and even some warmer temperatures to come along in just a few days' time. We would love to see your art. I don't have anything to show you today. The art barrel is dry. Send us your pictures, whether it's drawing, colorings, paintings, to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. A man was arrested after an alleged armed and random home invasion. Around 5:30 a.m. Friday, a couple was at their home in the first 100 block of Bayfield Avenue in St. Vital. That's when the couple heard someone banging on their front door. When they opened, they found an unknown man who pushed his way into their home. The man was allegedly armed with a butcher knife and threatened to stab the couple. Police arrived and arrested the man, and no one was injured. The 35-year-old man is now facing weapons, threat, break and enter, and commit robbery charges. He was detained in custody. None of those charges have been tested in court. A city councillor wants Winnipeg to look at new rules around fireworks. Waverley West Councillor Janice Lukes has put forward a motion which would see the public service explore how other cities handle the issue. Specifically, it's looking for a list of cities where the sale or use of fireworks are banned, what the fines are, and what rules are in place governing their use. Currently, a permit is required to set off fireworks within the city, and the permit holder must agree to certain safety conditions. The relationship between Canada and the U.S. will be front and center this week as the Prime Minister heads to Washington. CTV's Colton Prail reports on why some political experts are calling this a trip into the lion's den that Mark Carney has to make.
As Mark Carney prepares for a sit-down with Donald Trump in Washington, he does so under the weight of his own expectations.
He does need to show some progress. The fact that there hasn't been any progress after missing deadline after deadline does make Canadians sort of wonder.
Carney campaigned on his strength as a negotiator, and some in Washington say he'll need to use those skills if he hopes to find any tariff relief, with the U.S. president likely to look for more concessions from Canada on trade and national security issues.
I think those are some of the toughest issues that we would have expected to see play out in a USMCA or CUSMA review process, but actually are likely to get ironed out much in advance of that.
Sources in the federal government tell CTV News they're cautiously optimistic Canada could see some relief on steel and aluminum tariffs, and are willing to brave the president's volatility to achieve it.
From his point of view, it's better to take the risk of political failure and go to Washington and meet with President Trump rather than sit in Ottawa and hope that something comes to him.
It comes as Pierre Poilievre has held back on attacking Carney's handling of Trump, instead focusing on domestic issues like crime and affordability. Friday, Poilievre posting on social media that he hopes Mark Carney will keep his promise and negotiate a win.
This is for the Prime Minister to deliver or fail. And it becomes, in political terms, a very heavy anchor, political anchor for the Prime Minister if he fails. It will drag him down.
Industry and political experts that CTV News has spoken to are skeptical that a trade deal will be reached on Tuesday, with one former White House official saying they expect talks to focus on security issues, like the wars in Ukraine and Gaza.
Egypt is hosting talks this morning, hoping for a possible Gaza ceasefire. Israeli officials and Hamas leadership will sit down for indirect talks. Qatar is also involved. Negotiations will center around a 20-point plan proposed by U.S. President Donald Trump. Ahead of today's talks, President Trump urged all sides to move quickly.
It's a great deal for Israel. It's a great deal for the entire Arab world, Muslim world, and world. So we're very happy about it.
President Trump's plan calls for Hamas to disarm, give up power in Gaza, and free all remaining hostages. Israel would in turn stop its offensive and withdraw from most of Gaza. Both sides have shown an openness to accept parts of the plan. Talks today are expected to focus on the exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners, with hopes of finalizing a deal this week. Scott Gillingham is Winnipeg's mayor, of course, but it seems when he isn't bringing order to City Council, he's swinging into action under a different name, Batman. Yes, that is Mayor Gillingham rappelling down HSC's Children's Hospital building. And he wasn't alone. As you can see, several people dressed in superhero costumes joined him in making the descent down the building. And it was for a great cause, the 4th annual Suspended Superheroes fundraiser. The idea is to bring some magic into the hearts of sick kids and bring some much-needed fundraising dollars into the Children's Hospital Foundation of Manitoba.
All the funds goes back to the kids here at the hospital. So you can see the children's are up in Child Life. Upstairs, they're all in the playroom area. And so Child Life is a very important part of our hospital and our activity here. It makes sure that kids can be kids even when they're in hospital.
The goal for this year's fundraiser was to bring in $60,000, and participants smashed that mark, instead bringing in more than $88,000. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around St. James Bridge, a reminder all northbound lanes are closed here due to a collision. You can see those emergency vehicles, so you're going to need to find another way around. And a fire is causing traffic issues in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, text them to us at 10400.
Gold is set to hit another milestone. It's trading at record highs and is closing in on $4,000 U.S. an ounce. A looming U.S. interest rate cut and the prospect of a prolonged U.S. federal shutdown are driving demand. Gold is up 56% this year. Now, lost in the charge to gold is that silver has seen similar gains and is trading at nearly $50 U.S. an ounce. European markets are on a downswing with the news the French Prime Minister has resigned just a month after being appointed. Sébastien Lecornu stepped down just a day after French President Emmanuel Macron named a new cabinet, deepening the country's political crisis. France's stock market is down around 2%. Boeing appears to be coming out of a period marred by crashes and missteps. Bloomberg is reporting that the 737 MAX production output could increase to 42 a month in October and climb to 52 a month by the end of next year. Production was capped at 38 last year after the near catastrophic failure of an Alaska Airlines flight that lost an emergency exit door. Those are your morning business headlines. For B&M Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Checking in with CTV's Joseph Bernacki this morning. Joseph, we know it just takes a moment for a fire to break out, and it's all about this week learning how to protect ourselves. It is Fire Prevention Week, and there's lots on the go. Joseph, tell us all about it.
Thanks, Catherine. Good morning. And of course, good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, as Catherine mentioned, we're with WFPS this morning here. I'm currently standing inside their camper trailer unit we've featured on our show many times before. And for Fire Prevention Week, a unit like this is a great opportunity for WFPS to educate the public throughout not only this week, but of course, all the rest of the year on fire safety. Coming up in about 20 minutes time, we're going to have a segment on smoke alarm safety here, as cameraman Kenny is showing. Of course, at 7:42, we're going to be talking about how to dispose your lithium-ion batteries safely. Of course, that is another key cause of many fires starting, of course, is people not disposing of them properly. We're going to be bringing some more statistics and different guest speakers on, of course, throughout the show. So stay tuned for some more great conversations for your Monday CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Thanks so much for that, Joseph. We'll check in with you later. Terry, it was very different getting ready for work this morning versus last week. I was pulling out the heavier coats, and I guess that's typical. We were really spoiled with those temperatures.
Don't you have a heated vest to pull out?
I'm not as fancy as Director Kim, alas.
I will never let her live this down. She's like, oh, I had to reach for my heated vest this morning. I'm like, who has one of those?
Director Kim, that's who.
Right?
That's why we trust her.
Yeah, and give me one more season of listening to her, and I will have one too.
Yeah.
I will have that like FOMO in the worst way. I'm like, I need to have a heated vest. She showed me there's like a little battery pack and everything that goes on in there. It's rechargeable too, so it's a very sustainable option if you're going to be dealing with some cooler weather, as it looks like we will, at least for the next couple of days. Not that it's not going to get cooler, because obviously it will as we're heading into the winter seasons eventually. But later this week, we've actually got a nice little warm-up coming back again. 2 degrees is where we're sitting right now. You'll want that extra layer on, heated or not. You're going to need something to try and stay warm this morning, although 2 is a seasonal low temp, so we're right back to what you would expect. With an 18K wind out of the west-southwest, the pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 97%. Sun is not up yet. 7:36 is when it officially begins to rise, but I've got enough of the little twilight day glow to see what's going on out here this morning. Clear conditions. I was enjoying that gorgeous moon on my way into work this morning, which is going to be in its fullest stage tonight, but some heavier clouds moving in later this morning and will continue overnight. We might not be able to see that moon as it's in its fullest form. Now, more than clouds, we've got some precipitation across northern and central Manitoba. May even have some flurries tucked in there in these early morning hours, so just keep that in mind. Could be a little bit cool.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Time now for our question of the day. We will be sitting down with Volunteer Manitoba at 8:15 this morning to learn about a volunteer fair, but we want to know from you, because we've been inspired by them, which nonprofit organization would you like to give a shout out? Let us know. Text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Fall into fashion with Your Morning Winnipeg for your chance to win. To help warm up your wardrobe, we are giving away 3 $500 shopping sprees from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. To enter, head to the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and submit your details. And make sure to join us on Fashion Fridays for the latest in fall fashion from Outlet Collection Winnipeg. A beloved Winnipeg restaurant is closing its doors after more than 4 decades of serving up prime rib and martinis. The owners of Maxime's Restaurant and Lounge announced in a social media post they have decided to retire. The restaurant's land and building on St. Mary's Road have been sold, and they plan to close in the coming weeks. In the post, the family thanked its staff and many guests, writing, "Their journey has been one of extreme love and labor." The family restaurant first opened its doors in 1984. It'll close for good in the 3rd week of November. The city of Winnipeg wants to make it easier to remove graffiti from vacant buildings. A motion making its way through City Hall would permit city crews to enter onto a property to remove graffiti and then add the cost to the owner's taxes. Right now, the city can only remove graffiti from vacant buildings with the owner's permission, or if the owner doesn't successfully appeal a compliance order. Last year, the city removed more than 69,000 square meters of graffiti from 7,500 separate sites. No school for students this morning in Alberta. Teachers are on strike.
We're in a place where we've got a broken system. It's sick. It's been death by 1,000 budget cuts. And when we get right down to it, we just can't do any more as teachers. We've done our best. It's time for Danielle Smith and her government to step forward and do their best.
The province-wide strike is impacting more than 700,000 students across 2,500 public, separate, and francophone schools. Teachers rejected the government's latest offer late last month. The offer included a 12% pay raise over 4 years, a government promise to hire 3,000 more teachers to address class sizes, and money to cover the cost of a COVID-19 vaccine. Alberta Teachers Association President Jason Schilling says teachers want higher pay, better classroom conditions, fair funding, and support for 2S LGBTQ+ students. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival to those celebrating today. It's also known as the Moon Festival or Mooncake Festival, falling on the 15th day of the 8th month, of the Chinese luni-solar calendar. Got it eventually. It is a time for families to enjoy the harvest, light lanterns, and admire what's believed to be the roundest moon of the year. And as we know, tonight is the first supermoon of 2025. It's expected to be the largest and brightest full moon of the year, and the first supermoon since November 2024. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around the St. James Bridge, as we told you earlier about, we told you earlier there is a collision there closing all those lanes. That is why you see those emergency vehicles. So you're going to need to find another way around. Meanwhile, a fire is causing traffic issues in the area of Marion and Goulet at Traverse. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10,400. Time now for some entertainment news. As Taylor Swift's new album set streaming records, it also helped the pop star win the weekend box office. That is a few seconds of the track, The Fate of Ophelia. Just the only music video is out at 7, but many Swifties got a sneak peek at screenings of a special cinematic release party for the new album. The Life of a Showgirl is Swift's 12th album, and the movie event promises a behind-the-scene look at how it all came together. Those screenings brought in $33 million US across North America.
I need to find my daughter. Well, then call us back when you have the time.
One battle after another lost the top spot, but brought in more than $11 million US in its second weekend. Critically acclaimed sports biopic The Smashing Machine opened in third place with $6 million, well below Hollywood forecasts. Saturday Night Live returned for its 51st season last night. The opening sketch poked fun at a recent speech by U.S. Defense Secretary and the controversy over Jimmy Kimmel's comments following Charlie Kirk's killing.
Because this is serious. We are facing the greatest threat to freedom and democracy the world has ever known. And we all know what that threat is. Late night TV.
James Austin Johnson returned as the president. He also made a joke about the wave of cast changes at the sketch comedy show before the new season kicked off. Bad Bunny hosted the show for the second time, just a few days after he was named halftime show performer at next year's Super Bowl. Doja Cat was the SNL season premiere's musical guest. And start the week off with some great entertainment. The Voice leads things off at 7, and The Weakest Link follows at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
All right, we're looking through the Bathfitter Live Eye now. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Looking a little bit brighter, but still the sun not up yet. 7:36. It officially begins to rise, and we kick off the morning with clear conditions, so that's why it's looking so much brighter out there right now. Chilly, though, at 2 degrees, although that is normal for this time of year. Similar temperatures all through the southeast. Southwestern Manitoba, a couple degrees cooler, puts you below the freezing mark at -1 right now. Central Manitoba, you're at least on the plus side of freezing, and through most of northern Manitoba, you're either at the freezing mark or above, and then there's Thompson coming in at -1. A little bit cool for you as well. With cooler temperatures come the possibility of some mixed precipitation for northern Manitoba, central Manitoba too. You can see the heavier clouds, and while precipitation doesn't read on our satellite image, you can bet there will likely be some in that more mixed form, at least through the morning hours. Here in the south, it's very clear as we begin the day, but it is cool and it will remain below seasonal, even as we're reaching our expected high, which pushes us just barely up into the double digits. Morning temps as kids are getting settled into the classroom, 4 degrees, 9 degrees by the time they're taking lunch, maybe outside. I mean, obviously outside, it's not like it's that cold, but you will want to be properly dressed for it with that extra layer on, and even our expected high of 11 degrees, you'll probably keep that extra layer on for today and tomorrow too. Even cooler yet, 9 degrees, but a little bit brighter, a little bit sunnier. Today we're going to have those clouds moving in later this morning. Speaking of clouds, made for a cotton candy sky the other night as Christy was bringing her pumpkins in after all of that rain over the weekend. Thanks for the photo, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at CTV.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We are giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand. A dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. Well, the possibilities are endless. Now, today's code word is shop. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code there on your screen. Enter the code word SHOP with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Good luck. At Your Morning Winnipeg, we are all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing, and we want to see even more. Whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at ctv.ca, and catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. Legendary Canadian rock band Blue Rodeo has been playing on stages across this country for 40 years, etching them into Canadian music history. But this fall, the band is also being etched into a very unusual place. CTV's Sarah Plowman takes us there.
5 years ago in Florenceville, New Brunswick, a tradition sprouted. Build a maze of dead ends and trivia carved out of corn.
We've had people in here for hours.
While you can't tell from down here, each path has purpose. In a 6-acre puzzle celebrating Blue Rodeo's Jim Cuddy and Greg Keeler as the band celebrates 40 years together.
Been a fan ever since I can remember. I mean, since Blue Rodeo started. I remember listening to them in my tractor. Someone gave me a tape.
It's possible to get lost here in search of the musicians' faces or shades. To Jim Cuddy, it's an honor.
It's beautiful. I mean, we just saw pictures of it a couple of days ago, and it's truly, it's amazing. Beautiful.
How do you fare in corn mazes? Are you a type of guy who gets lost?
No, frankly, I probably could find my way out. I think there's others in the band, and I won't mention them, who probably would be asking to phone management to send somebody to help them.
This is a multi-step process. Once they think of the idea, they work with a graphic designer to draw it out, and then an engineer who uses a GPS to plot out exactly where they need to remove the corn.
We've gotten some really fantastic mazes out of that process.
A slice of Canadiana for 25 years, including nods to Stan Rogers and Gordon Lightfoot and Terry Fox.
We just like to see families out enjoying time with each other.
I would advise everybody to go and have a look at it, and don't deface our faces.
But perhaps get lost together. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Florenceville, New Brunswick.
Coming up at 7:28, it is Fire Prevention Week, and Joseph Bernacki is going to learn all about fire alarm maintenance, safety, everything you need to know. That's coming up at 7:28. It is Fire Prevention Week, and our own Joseph Bernacki is learning all about what the city has planned to mark the occasion. Good morning, Joseph. Happy Monday.
Thanks, Catherine. Yes, happy Monday, and happy Monday, Manitoba. I'm very pleased to be joined again by Doug Sinclair from WFPS. Always a pleasure to have you on our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
No problem, Doug. Of course, for this segment, we're talking about smoke alarm safety. I guess the first question, of course, where should people have these installed in their homes?
We want to have them on every level. You want a smoke alarm on every level, but you want to have them outside of a sleeping area. So when they're outside of a sleeping area, you want to have them up high, probably about 4 to 12 inches from the ceiling. And you want to make sure they're outside the sleeping area where everyone can hear them. So if you sleep with your doors closed, for example, which we recommend, you just want to make sure you test those and make sure that you can hear them even with your door closed.
And basically 1 per floor, as you mentioned, is kind of that right number?
Yeah, and people have different multi-floor or multi-level homes and stuff like that, but some people just live in a basic one story or one apartment, for example, where you only need really 1 smoke alarm. It's 1 per level.
And there's different options now with some that are manufactured, different combination alarms, as you mentioned to me before we were live?
Yeah, there's just general smoke alarms that that have test buttons and things like that. There's some basic ones. There's ones that have readings. There's ones that talk. There's combination alarms as well. That we have just separate CO alarms. We have separate smoke alarms. That we have combo alarms that are CO and smoke alarms that some are fancy. They talk. They have readings and things like that. So it depends on your preference or your price range.
You were mentioning to me before we were live, WFPS has a program to help homeowners install smoke alarms, perhaps senior citizens or people who might have some challenges getting up to the ceiling to install one of these. Tell us a little bit more about them.
Yeah, people who don't have access to a smoke alarm, we do have a program called Safe Family. In that program, we will actually install the alarm for you. We'll provide the alarm, and you can go through our website for that, and we'll get the alarm installed. And we've done over 100 Safe Family installs this year already.
For Fire Prevention Week, it's critical that we know more about these, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure that you test them once a month. You want to make sure that you change, if there are batteries in them, you want to make sure you change the batteries once a year. And these alarms are good for up to 10 years.
Wonderful. Well, we always appreciate having you on our show, Doug. And he mentioned batteries, of course. That's going to be the focus for our next segment at 7:42, how to dispose of your lithium-ion batteries safely with WFPS. Stay tuned.
All right, thanks for that, Joseph. Terry Gale is taking a check-in on weather for us. Terry, we've been all over the place. Last week felt like summer. This weekend really felt like a rainy, kind of watery fall. What is Mother Nature up to this week?
So a little bit of everything, honestly. I mean, we've got a couple of cool days to kick things off, but by the end of the week, Catherine, we're back to those, well, I don't know about summer-like temperatures, but certainly beautiful fall-like temperatures. And now, finally, with minutes to go before the sun rises, look at that gorgeous glow that we're waking up to this morning. 2 degrees right now with winds out of the west-southwest, 18 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 97%. Now, 2 degrees might seem chilly, but that's just all relative. And that's because we had that week last week of mid-20 temperatures. So 2 degrees seems cool, but it is in fact normal for a low temperature. And clear conditions is where we begin the day here in the south. Central and northern Manitoba, that's where the heavier clouds are. And with those clouds, a little bit of precipitation. So areas to the north of us might even be seeing some mixed precipitation. The possibility of a few flakes of snow could fly across parts of northern Manitoba today. We're not going to be seeing anything like that. We had our soaking over the weekend, and now we get to soak up some sunshine this morning before the clouds build up, and those clouds will be moving in about midday and lasting through the afternoon. 11 degrees is where we'll top out today. That's slightly below seasonal. 13 is a normal daytime high, and we'll do it with a bit of a breeze out of the southwest, at times gusting to 40 kilometers per hour, and still that breeze overnight. Still the clouds, too, as we drop a little closer to the freezing mark, right down to 1 degree. But clearing through the day tomorrow, we'll see a little more in the way of sunshine. Not a lot more in the way of heat, though. Even cooler yet at 9 degrees. But from there, I mentioned the warmer weather coming back. Yeah, midweek through the end of the week and into the coming weekend, we're climbing up into those high teens and even some low 20s.
Thanks, Terry. Winnipeg police have identified a suspect in connection to a fatal shooting in the spring, and they're asking for your help to track him down. 33-year-old Paul Xavier Bonnick is wanted on a Canada-wide warrant for second-degree murder. Investigators say Bonnick may now be somewhere in Ontario. He is considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to call the homicide unit or Crime Stoppers. Those outside of Winnipeg are asked to call 911. It comes after 39-year-old Ralph Moyes was fatally shot May 23rd in the 300 block of Cumberland Avenue. A U.S. federal judge is blocking the Trump administration from sending National Guard troops into Portland.
It's unwarranted, it is unlawful, it is un-American.
Protesters and federal agents were clashing in Portland over the weekend. The decision to block the National Guard from coming in came late last night after Oregon and California sought a temporary restraining order. The ruling stands until October 19th at least. And hundreds of National Guard troops are also being sent into Chicago, where tensions are already high from ongoing ICE immigration raids. Illinois' governor is accusing President Trump of creating a war zone to justify sending in more troops. Russian strikes over the weekend on several Ukrainian regions killed at least 5 people in an attack local officials say targeted civilian infrastructure. Ukrainian officials say Russia fired over 50 ballistic missiles and around 500 drones. Moscow has stepped up attacks on Ukraine's energy grid and gas production sites in recent weeks as the 4th winter of its full-scale invasion approaches. Areas near the Polish border were hit particularly hard in the attack, and the NATO member said it scrambled aircraft to ensure its safety as other European countries step up defense spending following recent Russian incursions into their airspace in recent weeks. Get ready to shell out a little more for your cup of Tim Hortons. The iconic Canadian coffee chain says it is raising coffee prices for the first time in 3 years. The cost of that cup of joe will go up 1.5%, or an average of 3 cents a cup. According to Tim Hortons, the cost of its coffee beans has more than doubled, contributing to the price hike. Nobel prizes are being handed out this week, and we're starting this morning with medicine.
The 2025 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine jointly to Mary Branco, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi.
The 3 are being recognized for their work in the field of peripheral immune tolerance. This has to do with how the body keeps its immune system in check and prevents it from attacking itself. The physics prize will be awarded tomorrow. The Keystone Rainbow Curling League celebrated a milestone over the weekend, marking 20 years of inclusive curling in Manitoba. The league kicked off its 20th season with a ceremony at the Granite Curling Club near the Ledge on Sunday, highlighting sport, community, and connection. Founder of the league, Trevor Harris, reflected on how it all began, looking for ways to connect with the 2S LGBTQ+ community through curling.
At a time across Canada where a lot of curling clubs are struggling and a lot of leagues are finding it hard to maintain memberships, to see this league growing by leaps and bounds and so much every year, I think that's just a huge success story.
The league now has 45 teams and is set to host the Canadian Pride Curling Championships in 2027, bringing teams from across the country to the Granite Club. Organizers say the event will be more than just a weekend game. It'll be a celebration of sport and inclusion. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around the St. James Bridge, a reminder all northbound lanes are closed on the bridge due to a collision, so you will need to find another way around. And if you have any traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10400. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.34. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26, and the lowest price in the city is $1.22. All this information is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
It is 2 degrees out there. That sunshine starting to poke up. We'll have a complete update on news, weather, and traffic. That's still to come on Your Morning Winnipeg.
Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Well, good news is the sun is up. Oh, and Bud the Bug is back to join us this morning. 2 degrees right now, winds out of the west-southwest, 18 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 97%. It's looking gorgeous out there now that the sun is up, of course. But we're not going to see sunshine throughout the entire day today. By later on this afternoon, we'll see the clouds building up, but enjoy the clearer sky that we have to begin. Now, central and northern Manitoba are already seeing those clouds, and with those clouds, there will come some precipitation. And with the cooler temperatures this morning, the possibility that we're going to see some mixed precipitation, a rain-snow mix in places like Thompson, Island Lake. Well, Island Lake might be more into the showers, but places like Thompson, you're below the freezing mark this morning, so you may see a few flakes of snow tucked in there. Mid-single digits, that's likely as warm as it'll get across much of northern Manitoba. Now, keeping in mind that those numbers are pretty close to seasonal for northeastern Manitoba. Northwestern Manitoba would probably be just a couple degrees warmer than this, around 9-10 degrees, maybe not quite into the double digits, but certainly a little bit warmer than what you can expect for today. Here across southern Manitoba, a seasonal daytime high would be about 13 degrees. Some places will get there, like Brandon, for example, but this icon, that's the winds, and they'll be gusting at times to about 50 kilometers per hour in places like Brandon and in Dauphin. We too will have some pretty breezy conditions, up to 40K winds possibly here through much of the southeast, but drier conditions after all of that rain over the weekend. We got about 30 millimeters in Winnipeg. Sprague, you got about 60 millimeters. So that was one of the hardest hit areas. And while I say 30 millimeters here in Winnipeg, that's what they registered at the Forks and at the airport, although my rooftop rain gauge was showing closer to 40 millimeters of rain. Anyway, we're not going to be seeing any more throughout this week. In fact, we'll be drying up with plenty of sunshine and even some warmer temps in a couple days.
CTV's Joseph Bernanke is learning all about Fire Prevention Week, all the ways we can protect ourselves and decrease our risk. Good morning, Joseph. What have you got for us now?
Good morning, Catherine. Well, in this segment now, we're going to talk about lithium-ion battery safety. I'm very pleased to have Justin Kutzak on the show. He is a public education officer with WFPS. Always a pleasure to chat with you on our show.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for coming and thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of really important tips when it comes to those lithium-ion batteries that are in so many of our electronic devices. Justin, when it comes to buying these types of batteries, what's the information you could pass along to our viewers?
So the most important thing is when you buy these products, right? You want to make sure that you're buying something that has the safety labels saying that they've been tested for use in Canada. You know, a lot of places you go to, they may sell products that haven't been rated, haven't been tested, so it might not work with your device. There could be some safety concerns with that.
When it comes to charging, you know, these are devices where, you know, if it's the batteries that are in our smartphones or in our iPads, we use these things every day. what's the best advice you can pass along for where to charge these devices that they don't cause a risk?
Yeah, so when you're charging them, you want to make sure that you charge them on a hard surface. You know, a lot of us like to use these things when we're on the couch or in our beds, right? You don't want to fall asleep while charging them. These things can pose a risk if, while they're charging, they might overheat, and if they can't dissipate that heat anywhere, it could cause them to fail and essentially start a fire.
And obviously there's other things to be on the lookout for in terms of the cable itself, if it's starting to fray, or if you notice anything else at the outlet, I imagine.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're using the device, or sorry, the charger that comes with that device. That's probably the most important thing. If you lose that charger, you know, don't just go get a generic one. Make sure you're checking with the manufacturer that whatever charger you get will work for it. And if you notice that that cord is ripped, torn, or frayed, just get rid of it, buy a new one.
And the big question when it comes to recycling these batteries, where can we take them?
Yeah, it's important to go, you can go to calltorecycle.ca, or you can drop them off at any of the Winnipeg 4R depots. We don't want to be chucking them in the garbage because they could still have a bit of a charge in them that could pose a risk and could essentially still catch on fire.
And you could have a fire in the landfill.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's been quite a few of them.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate your time on the show, Justin. He's going to be joining us again at 8:06 with WFPS, of course, talking about the little kitchen unit we have behind us here, learning more about how to stay safe in the kitchen. We'll be back in about 20 minutes for CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Thanks, Joseph. The ongoing postal strike is having a ripple of consequences, including on charities across the country, as they are not receiving donations sent through the mail. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on a local mission in Halifax facing a big disruption.
Souls Harbor Rescue Mission provides food and housing for thousands of people living in Nova Scotia. Like many charities, it relies on donations to support their program.
1/3 of our funding stream is people who are donating through the mail system.
Which means this facility is now braced to take a direct hit during the Canada Post strike.
It is incredibly impactful to Souls Harbor and other like charities because we are losing over $1 million in the mail.
That money is needed with the cold winter season fast approaching. Money from the fall fundraising program here at Souls Harbor supports meal programs, feeding people in this province. Volunteers organize hot meals at 9 locations across Nova Scotia.
For Thanksgiving and also for Christmas.
As the work stoppage continues, union leader Dwayne Corner says hurting charities is not the purpose of this strike.
At the end of the day, we want to get back to work. We're not looking to harm these people.
Souls Harbor Rescue Mission CEO Michelle Porter has a message to donors who usually send money in the mail.
If you are able to give a different way than the mail, please call your charity, go online.
Porter says those are solutions that could help to ensure donations keep coming in during the Canada Post strike. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy birthday to Jay and Harry from Vanessa and your family. Happy 5th birthday, Theo. Love Mom, Dad, Liam, Kronos, and Scarlett. Happy 6th birthday and bon fête, Rosalie. Love Mama, Papa, and Frederick. Happy birthday, Brad, from friends and family. Happy 25th birthday, Joshua, from your mom, dad, and siblings. Happy 38th birthday, Kenan. Love Tommy, Meryl, and Eddie, and all the fur babies, River Butters, and Milo. Happy 12th birthday, Ava. Much love from Dad, Mom, and your sisters. And happy 72nd birthday, Larry. Excuse me, with your love from your wife and kids and your grandchildren. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It's also going to enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
All right, 11 degrees is where we're headed for a high today, and that'll keep us a little bit below a seasonal high of 13 degrees. Last year, we were pretty much bang on those numbers, maybe just a bit warmer at 14. But look at that record, set back in 1879. well over 100 years ago, 150 years ago. I do some bad math. But anyway, we're talking 30-degree temperatures this time of year for early October. It seems unheard of, although we will be in for a bit of a warm-up later on this week. Nothing is going to take us to some record-breaking temperatures, although last week we were probably a lot closer to that. Pushing up into those mid-20s. We've got high teens and low 20s in a couple of days' time, but today and tomorrow will be a little bit cooler. It's clearer this morning, though, looking gorgeous and bright. Sun is now up. It's 2 degrees. You're going to want that extra layer on. There's a bit of a breeze. It's 18 kph winds out of the west-southwest with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 97%. With the sunshine, enjoy it this morning. It's not going to last through the day. In fact, central and northern Manitoba not waking up to that sunshine. Heavier clouds and maybe even some mixed precipitation. Flurries tucked into parts of northern Manitoba with some cool and below seasonal temperatures this morning, or even below the freezing mark. So that chance of snow is there. We're not going to be seeing anything like that today. In fact, we're probably not going to be seeing anything in the way of precipitation throughout this week. Here in the south, it will remain dry after that solid soaking we got this weekend.
Thanks, Terry. Artificial intelligence is moving into many aspects of our lives. AI can now help us with planning a trip, our kids' homework assignments, and now even in Hollywood roles. We just heard about an AI actress called Tilly Norwood. We've heard she's been created and is ready to be hired for all kinds of movie roles. Joining us now to tell us more on what that means to the film industry and real-life actors is University of Manitoba Professor of Film Studies, Brenda Austin-Smith. Good morning, Brenda. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
So when it was announced that this AI actress, Tilly Norwood, was created, what was your first thought?
My first thought is that we are already kind of giving in to this. It could be a PR stunt rather than something really genuine by calling this bot an actress and giving the bot a name. So I've enjoyed over the last few days correcting myself, and I hope modeling others when I say, oh, you mean the bot, the predictive visual text? Yes. So I refuse to call it an actress.
Not an actress. Well,
No.
I'm just curious, what could this mean to the future of filmmaking and actors? I've seen, just anecdotally, the reaction has not been great from folks. So is this setting the course for change, or are we just not open to it or ready for that?
Well, I think it depends from which angle you ask the question. I think if we recall, and some of us might remember that over the last 2 or 3 years, the first strike was in 2023, and then there was a second one over this summer. There were 2 strikes in Hollywood involving voice actors and live actors, right? Screen Actors Guild, ACTRA, and it was precisely over the threat that large language models like this, or large image models, posed, the threat that posed to voice actors and live actors. And they were onto something, and they signed an agreement because they were reassured that the threat would not, take place. But here it is. So I think it is a huge threat. I think for studios and movie makers, there is an attraction in creating the perfect performer that you don't have to pay, you don't have to feed. It doesn't require, red M&Ms in the dressing room. It doesn't need a limo driver. It will not complain about bad weather. So you don't have to pay it, and you can create your content at virtually no cost once you've got the language model or the image model to supply your talent. I think for the movie industry, in terms of labor, it's a disaster.
Well, we obviously have a thriving film community here in Manitoba. What do you think this shift will mean for us locally here in this province's film industry?
Well, insofar as the industry here can make a shift, it will make a shift to compositing, to people who already work in things like animation. And that takes a lot of work. That's a lot of hard work and imagination. We'll probably be able to retrain or, shift into this kind of choosing amongst the images provided by the large image model, but you won't need as many people, and you will still need some post-production work. But I think it's going to come down to viewers more than it finally comes down to the industry here in Manitoba. It's whether humans, being the kind of curious creatures we are, and given our tendency to anthropomorphize, I mean, we love little creatures that we hook onto our backpacks, right? Labubus. So will this become a craze? Will this become something that people hate watch, or just, I really dislike it, but I'm going to watch it anyway, just to see?
Yeah, exactly.
Time is going to tell. We can't predict.
Okay, Brenda, sorry to cut you off, but we have to leave it
okay.
there. Thank you so much for your insights.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Hello, and thanks for joining us here inside the SportsCenter newsroom. Laura Dykin, and it is time to unveil your must-see moment from Sunday. For that, it's off to the NFL, to the desert, for a good one between the Titans and Cardinals. A game that was full of wild moments, including this one right here when Cam Ward picked off by Dadrian Taylor Demerson. And there goes the football, and it keeps on bouncing. The Titans end up with the touchdown thanks to Tyler Lockett, who jumps on that football. What a turn of events. Should have been a turnover for Tennessee. Instead, the Titans end up with a touchdown. They come back from being down 15 in the fourth quarter to earn their first win of the season. And oh yeah, they also take our must-see moment from Sunday. Well, tonight on TSN, one more game to go in Week 5 in the NFL. It is the Chiefs versus the Jags, and all the action gets underway at 7 p.m. Central Time. That does it for us here inside the SportsCenter newsroom. Have a great rest of the day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It is Monday, October 6th. Fireworks in focus, why the city of Winnipeg is now seeking detailed information on how other cities regulate or even prohibit their use. Washington Week, the Prime Minister is off to D.C. for meetings in an attempt to secure some trade concessions from the Trump administration. And no way to dodge this as a gym class staple grows up and gets its shot at the big time in the first ever national competition. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Thanks for joining us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. I'm Catherine Dow in for Rochelle Legacy, joined as always by Terry Gale. I gotta say, we have so many amazing nonprofits in our city and in our province. We're gonna be learning all about this amazing volunteer fair that could use your time. And Terry, a bit of a soggy weekend.
Was it ever? Yeah, glug, glug, my roof leaked. I hope everybody else fared a little bit better than that. 2 degrees is where we're sitting right now. Plenty of sunshine to kick us off. Will it last? Not likely. And we're going to be seeing some heavier clouds later on this morning. So enjoy this bit of sunshine while it's hanging around. We've got a bit of a breeze out of the west-southwest, 18 kilometers per hour. Pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 97%. So clear conditions, like I said, that's a for now situation. Central and northern Manitoba already have some clouds, and there might even be a bit of precipitation in there as well. With temperatures just below the freezing mark in some parts of the north, you might see a flake or two of snow, maybe changing to showers as it warms up today. Central Manitoba, more likely to see that precipitation in liquid form. And then I mentioned the clouds that'll build up here in the south. So yes, while it's clear and we're waking up to sunshine right now, that will change with clouds moving in. Temperatures today and tomorrow will be a little bit cool, but tomorrow we'll start to get a return of the sunshine again. Along the eastern border, we might see that activity lingering a little bit longer, but there's a look at Tuesday, and it's clearing out nicely. It's just that it's not going to bring the warmth that we might like this time of year. We will get back to that. In fact, we're going to surpass seasonal temperatures in just a matter of days, but today and tomorrow will not be those days. That's when we're going to remain slightly off the mark of the seasonal 13 degrees. 11 today, 9 tomorrow, and then suddenly we're back up above seasonal as we're looking ahead through the rest of the week. We want to see your art, so please send me some so I have something to show you tomorrow. Email your pictures to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. A fire on Enfield Crescent in St. Boniface kept crews busy this morning. Firefighters rolled to the scene at just before 2 this morning, following a report of a fire in an unoccupied apartment block. The city said crews found heavy smoke and flames coming from the building. Crews fought the fire while protecting adjacent buildings. A nearby apartment building was evacuated as a precaution. The fire, which was declared under control just after 5 a.m., is under investigation. A man was arrested after an alleged armed and random home invasion. Around 5:30 Friday morning, a couple heard someone banging on the front door, and that was at their home on Bayfield Avenue in St. Vital. When they opened the door, an unknown man pushed his way inside. The man allegedly was armed with a butcher knife and threatened to stab the couple. Police arrived and arrested the man. No one was hurt. The 35-year-old man is now facing weapons, threat, break and enter, and commit robbery charges. None of those charges have been tested in court. A city councillor wants Winnipeg to look at new rules around fireworks. Waverley West Councillor Janice Lukes has put forward a motion which would see the public service explore how other cities handle the issue. Specifically, it's looking for a list of cities where the sale or use of fireworks are banned, what the fines are, and what rules are in place governing their use. Currently, a permit is required to set off fireworks within the city, and the permit holder must agree to certain safety conditions. Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to Washington today, set to talk trade with U.S. President Donald Trump tomorrow. This is Prime Minister Carney's second trip to the White House since becoming Prime Minister last spring. According to a government source, Mark Carney will be pushing for some relief for the steel and aluminum sectors hit hard by Trump's tariffs. The meetings also come as the U.S. is set to impose an extra 10% tariff on Canada's softwood lumber sector next week. Trump and Carney could also touch on security issues, including the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza. Before heading out this afternoon, the Prime Minister has scheduled a meeting with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. And taking a look at the current traffic situation around the St. James Bridge, the northbound lanes remain closed due to that crash. There is no word yet on when the bridge will reopen. We have heard, though, from our CTV camera folks that it is bumper to bumper. You will need to take an alternate route. Meanwhile, if you have any traffic tips or updates to share, you can text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Checking in with CTV's Joseph Bernacki, who's learning all about Fire Prevention Week. What have you got for us, Joseph?
Thanks, Catherine. Good morning, Manitoba. At this time, I'm very pleased to be joined again by Justin Kutzak, Public Education Officer with WFPS. Justin, pleasure to have you on our show for another segment.
Yeah, thanks again.
We know that kitchen fires are one of the most #1 causes of fires in a house. You guys have this nifty little kitchen unit here that you're able to bring for educational purposes. Talk to us a little bit about those big tips on how to stay safe in the kitchen.
Yeah, so like you said, the #1 cause is kitchen fires for residential
houses.
For houses, yeah. So what we do is we can bring this out to schools or any of our presentations that we do, and it simulates a kitchen fire. You know, what to do, what you should have prepared in the event that, you know, something does go wrong. And usually most times it's the cause of unattended cooking, right? People get distracted, they start cooking with something, and then their phone rings or someone comes to the door, and next thing you know, why is my smoke alarm going off, right? And they look back and they realize, oh, I got a pot of food that's on fire. So
you've got a pot on this stovetop here that you can use as a demonstration. Why don't you turn it on for us and show. Yeah.
This simulates. Oh, now it's not going.
Of course. Oh, okay. Now it's turned on.
All right, we got it. So you want to always have an oven mitt beside you whenever you're cooking, and make sure you have a lid. The lid that either goes with the pan or the pot, or you can use a cookie sheet. And let's say you do have a fire. The best thing you can do, #1, is not use water on a cooking fire, any cooking fire. All you're going to do is simply take the lid, use it as a shield, slide it over top, shut the element off, and the fire should go out, and then you can move it over to a different element get outside if it's really bad and call 911 for there.
And of course, the reason not to add water if it's grease is because the water will accelerate the fire, basically. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. It can make actually quite a big explosion that could cause it to spread to the rest of the
Obviously,
kitchen.
in a worst case scenario, a fire extinguisher, obviously, based on someone's comfort level.
Exactly, yeah. It's important to have a fire extinguisher in your home, and let's say this tip doesn't work for you, you can always go to a fire extinguisher.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate having you on our show again this morning, Justin. We'll be back at 8:38 with one more segment on Fire Prevention Week with WFPS. Stay tuned.
Thanks so much for this, Joseph. Your morning just got a whole lot richer. We are giving away a staggering $20,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra 20 grand, maybe a dream vacation, home renovations, paying off bills. The possibilities are endless. Today's code word is shop. Head to the contest page on ctvwinnipeg.ca or scan the QR code on your screen. Don't forget to enter the code word SHOP with your info for your chance to win CTV Your Morning Winnipeg's $20,000 giveaway. Tune in tomorrow for another code word. Good luck. Millions of people in cities across the world gather every fall to dance Garba. That's a centuries-old tradition from India that's quickly becoming one of the biggest cultural celebrations. CTV's Sanjay Maru takes us inside an annual event near Windsor, Ontario.
Each step in perfect synchronization, no matter the speed, no matter the age. In the Windsor area, this tradition goes back decades with humble beginnings.
Something that started 51 years ago in someone's basement is now taking place in such a big venue like this. And this year, we are so proud.
Proud because of just how many people turned out to the event center in LaSalle over the past 2 weekends for the Gujarati Samaj of Windsor's annual Garba Nights. Anyone in the community can join the celebration. And this year, more than 3,000 people did just that. Garba is a traditional folk dance from the Indian state of Gujarat, performed in circular patterns during the 9-night festival called Navratri. The circles represent the cycle of life and togetherness, with dancers moving around a central light that symbolizes inner strength and the power of good prevailing. For those in attendance, Garba nights are as highly anticipated as any major holiday.
All the family friends that we know here for so many years, and it's a lot more fun when you know everybody that you are doing Garba with.
But for others, it's their first time.
I've seen in movies, right? I just wanted to experience it in real life. Hearing about it, it was in my bucket list. It's just how people are coordinated.
Windsor, Essex is far from the only region where Garba brings people together. Around the world, millions take to floors like these every year, moving in the same circles to the same beats.
We are like standing there down, looking at the people. We want to dance over there. Like let's dance over here.
In LaSalle, Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
Looking outside now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Not a cloud to be spotted yet, but we'll see plenty of clouds later today. They're likely to build up throughout the afternoon, so just keep that in mind this morning, that with those clouds could come some precipitation, not necessarily here in southern Manitoba. We had more than our share over the weekend. In fact, Winnipeg got about 30 millimeters according to Environment Canada, both at the Forks and at the airport. But in Sprague, 60 millimeters of rain was registered, so talk about a solid soaking there. Now we can just soak up some sunshine, at least for another few hours. 2 degrees is where we're sitting right now. That is a normal low for this time of year. Cooler yet, though, through the southwest, just below the freezing mark. We've got Brandon, Melita, Roblin all coming in at -1. And then, even cooler yet, Thompson, -2 for you. The rest of northern Manitoba is at least at the freezing mark or even a few to 3 degrees above. But that's where there is the possibility of maybe a few flakes of snow with those cooler temperatures this morning. You can see the heavier clouds on the satellite image and through parts of central Manitoba as well. While it's clear here in the south, it may not stay that way. We'll see the clouds building up throughout the day. 4 degrees expected as kids are settling into the classroom. 9 degrees by the time they're headed out for lunch. After school, only 11 degrees. That's our expected high temperature for today. Slightly below seasonal, 13 degrees. That would be a normal daytime high. We're not going to get there today. We're going to be even further from it tomorrow, although there should be a little more sunshine expected tomorrow, but cooler yet at 9 degrees. Then suddenly a nice little bit of a bump with the temperatures, warming up to above seasonal values with high teens and even some low 20s expected through the rest of the week. Plenty of dry conditions until the weekend rolls around. Could get soggy once again. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Gold is set to hit another milestone. It's trading at record highs and is closing in on $4,000 U.S. an ounce. A looming U.S. interest rate cut and the prospect of a prolonged U.S. federal shutdown are driving demand. Gold is up 56% this year. Now, lost in the charge to gold is that silver has seen similar gains and is trading at nearly $50 U.S. an ounce. European markets are on a downswing with the news the French Prime Minister has resigned just a month after being appointed. Sébastien Lecornu stepped down just a day after French President Emmanuel Macron named a new cabinet, deepening the country's political crisis. France's stock market is down around 2%. Boeing appears to be coming out of a period marred by crashes and missteps. Bloomberg is reporting that the 737 MAX production output could increase to 42 a month in October and climb to 52 a month by the end of next year. Production was capped at 38 last year after the near catastrophic failure of an Alaska Airlines flight that lost an emergency exit door. Those are your morning business headlines. For B&M Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Countless organizations in Manitoba rely on the help of volunteers every single day. Without the helping hands of those who donate their time, many nonprofits could not provide the programs and services they do. And as we head into a busy time of year, Volunteer Manitoba is on a mission to help recruit more supporters. Joining us now from Volunteer Manitoba, we have Executive Director Ashley Seymour. Good morning, Ashley. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So let's start off with talking about the importance of volunteers in Manitoba. What do they mean to this province?
Yeah, so Manitoba is home to some of the most incredible volunteers that we have across the country, really. And there's hundreds of nonprofit organizations and community groups that rely on the support of these volunteers to deliver the vital programs and services and events that we as Manitobans come to enjoy.
Do you have a number on roughly how many organizations rely on those volunteers?
Yeah, we know that there are literally hundreds of, as I said, community groups and nonprofits here in Manitoba. Many of them are volunteer driven, and so it's really important for us to, support those organizations to recruit their volunteers.
I think sometimes when folks are looking for that really great volunteer gig, they don't know really where to start. So what I love about this is you've got a fair coming up that's kind of like a one-stop shop for those looking to find a volunteer position. Tell us about what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Thursday, October the 9th, we will be at the Viscount Gort Hotel from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. And we have over 50 nonprofits that'll be on site ready to talk to community members about the different volunteer positions that they have and to encourage people to get involved and to sign up to support the great work that they're doing.
I was asking you in the break, like when I think about volunteer jobs or positions, I think about kids trying to put those great jobs on their university applications when they're getting ready to take the next step. But you say you kind of get folks from all walks of life looking to find that perfect volunteer opportunity.
For sure, yeah. There's something out there for everyone, regardless of how much time you have to give, from students looking to get some work experience to maybe folks who are newly retired who are looking for something to fill their time now. So we encourage people, as we said, from all walks of life to come to the event on Thursday to see what opportunities are out there.
And it's a great thing to do with your kids, to show it early that those jobs are rewarding in more ways than one. That's kind of one of the neat things you were telling me earlier.
For sure, yeah. We see more and more families coming out. They want to get involved as a family, and I think that's really great.
One of my favorite volunteer jobs is I was a baby snuggler at the hospital. I'm like, how is this? Do they need people for this job? I should be paying to do this. So for folks looking to attend, what do they need to know exactly?
Yeah, so it's a free event, as I said, happening this Thursday, October the 9th. We're really grateful to have the support of the Volunteer Management Professionals of Canada and the Réseau Compassion Network have come on board this year to sponsor the event. But we'll be at the Viscount Gord Hotel on Portage Avenue this Thursday from 11 a.m. till 7 p.m.
And what do you want people out there to know about the importance of volunteering your time? What is the takeaway for those who do it?
There are so many benefits depending on who you are, what stage of life you're at. But here in Manitoba, we rely on volunteers to, see all these incredible events, festivals, programs, and community services come to fruition. And they're all really largely driven by volunteers. So if anybody's able and interested to give back just a little bit of their time, we encourage them to come to our event on Thursday and see what's out there.
Okay, a reminder, we mentioned it, the Citywide Volunteer Recruitment Fair is coming up Thursday at the Viscount Gord Hotel from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Ashley, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we got soaked over the weekend with all of that rain, and now we're soaking up the sunshine first thing on your Monday morning. But it's cool out here this morning. 2 degrees is where those temps are sitting. 17K winds out of the west-southwest. The pressure rising, humidity at 94%. I want to show off once again our rain gauge. Look at that. That's what we got here on our rooftop over the weekend, just over 40 millimeters. That's an impressive amount of rain. Now at the airport and at the Forks, at the reporting stations there, they registered about 30 millimeters of rain, so not quite as much, but Sprague, you've got about 60 millimeters of rain, kind of winning the game. That was the hardest hit area across southern Manitoba. Now we just get to soak up the sunshine, but maybe only for another few hours with heavier clouds expected to build up through the day today. We're going to be seeing this blue sky disappearing, and we're never really going to warm to seasonal values, not today or even tomorrow. Cooler temps expected, but with those cooler temps come some wintry-like conditions. There could be some mixed precipitation moving across parts of northern Manitoba with your temperatures this morning right around the freezing mark or even just below for some. You might get a few flakes of snow mixed with some showers as it warms up through the day, but like I said, it's not going to be warming up much. Mid-single digits expected as high temperatures today across the north. Here in the south, we'll get to double digits, but barely. 11 degrees our expected high, when 13 is normal for this time of year. We might not even get there tomorrow with 9 degrees our expected high. I mentioned it gets cooler before it warms up, but when it does warm up, we'll be surpassing seasonal. Middle through the end of the week and into the coming weekend, some high teens expected, even some low 20s perhaps. So that'll put us well above normal and plenty of sunshine after today. I mean, today I mentioned the heavier clouds will build up, but for the most part this week will be sunny, and bigger news, it'll be dry. The pumpkin patch was looking good, almost the same color as that cotton candy sky. Thanks to Christy for the photo out in the East Selkirk area. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca, and we'll be back with your morning right after this break.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
If you love spring, St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center is the place to be, but it's autumn, and there's also some great options for you as well. Carla Hersida joins us to tell us all about it.
It's so true. We focus on summer and we focus on the spring colors with flowers and perennials in their blooming period. But the fall, when you look at the forest around you, there's a lot of color that you can get from the trees and the shrubs. So when you want to look and design and put your placements in it, is it the height that you want that has the color, or is there a collection of bush forms? So here we're looking at an Amur ruby slippers, and you can see where it's just transitioning with those colors where you get that deep red color tones. It also gives you a little bit of a kiss of that pink in the leaf that's on it. But if you want to go a little bit shorter in form, just looking for the bush type ones is going to give you as well. But on the prairies, you see that we have a lot of yellow tones or maybe golden tones that are in through here. But when you're looking to, and there's nothing wrong with yellow. Yellow is kind of very intense. It's kind of that, the sun is yellow, so it's good. But think also, we've done segments on hydrangeas where they've had that crisp whiteness to it. But looking for different varieties, this is a strawberry sundae, and one of my other favorites was vanilla strawberry, vanilla. That the color has gone now from this white to a reddish tone. sort of taking in that pink hue. So you like that tradition of a transition. Now, this one here, I truly kind of love it because it's showing you this is berry white, and you can see the intensity of the burgundy. Now it's starting to go in this brownish form. And if you leave these a little bit longer, you may want to do some drawing and crafting with it, because I think there's beauty. Look at this one, Kenny. I think there's beauty even in the brown clusters. So you're getting...
It's like they were made for each other.
They are. Hey, pink and brown, go.
Yeah, I love that combo.
Pink and brown, go. And when you're thinking of the different areas of it too, we're talking about the trees and the shrubs and their color changes and transitions, but think of vines as well. There's two vines that do really, really well. There's Engelmann's ivy and Virginia creeper, and they will create walls over canopies of garlands, pergolas. They will actually, if you want to know the difference.
I do.
You always have to know your Virginia creeper. It needs something to climb up to, but Engelmann's ivy has these little kind of fingerlings that will kind of clasp onto things. So they will go up of walls or attach themselves to fences. So perfect for screening on chain link fence. Now the pop of these guys, and I think this is so cute, is thinking about it. We do get some berries in the fall, which are going to help with the birds. But if you're looking at this one, I think this one's adorably cute. It's called Pinky Promise Snowberry, and during the season you get this cute little bush form that's on it, and you get a pop of color with the pink berries. And then if you go into your Aronias, you get that rich tones of the blackberry that's on through here. So perfect ground covers, perfect for the pop of it. And if you don't like the pink, look for the white variety that's on there.
I can't choose. You'll just have to pick for me.
I can do that. I can do that.
This has been Get Growing.
Get Growing is brought to you by St. Mary's Nursery and Garden Center. Get a lush yard and garden thanks to expert advice from gardening professionals. Your Morning Winnipeg. Coffee is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Beautiful blue sky that we're waking up to this morning. It's cool though, 2 degrees, although cool is a relative term. It's actually seasonal. This is normal for this time of year to be waking up to temperatures just above the freezing mark. Winds out of the west-southwest, they're 17 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 94%. That gorgeous sky though, blue and clear, might not last through the day today. On the satellite image, we're seeing some heavier clouds through central and northern Manitoba, where there is going to be a little bit of precipitation today. Here in the south, no precipitation, but we will see these clouds building up as the morning goes on. So increasing amounts of cloud, increasing temperatures, just not quite to seasonal values. Even though we're seasonal starting out, we'll be just shy of 13 degrees, which is a normal daytime high. Instead, topping out at about 11 degrees with a bit of a breeze out of the southwest, at times gusting to 40 kilometers per hour. Those clouds, they're likely to last overnight as the temperature dips little cooler than today, right down to the freezing mark, or just above 1 degree. We'll take that. With the winds out of the southwest, again, still gusting to about 40 kilometers per hour. Should be clearing out for tomorrow, though. We'll see a little more sunshine, but it could be even cooler than today. Topping out at 9 degrees, not even getting to the double digits. But after that, we're going to see a nice little bump with those temperatures. Back up above seasonal, high teens, in fact, and maybe even a low 20 tucked in there as we're rolling into the weekend. And while most of the rest of the week will be spent with the sun shining over us, there is the possibility of some showers to wrap up the weekend Sunday.
Thanks, Terry. Heavy rain Sunday caused the temporary closure of an off-ramp from the St. James Bridge. This was the scene mid-afternoon yesterday on the ramp from the southbound span of the St. James Bridge onto Academy Road. Winnipeg police confirmed that cadets were at the location directing traffic away from the flooded area. City crews responded to pump away the water and restore access to the roadway. Winnipeg saw rainfall of 30.2 millimeters at the airport. That was up to 6:45 p.m. The City of Winnipeg wants to make it easier to remove graffiti from vacant buildings. A motion making its way through City Hall would permit city crews to enter onto a property to remove graffiti and then add the cost to the owner's taxes. Right now, the city can only remove graffiti from vacant buildings with the owner's permission, or if the owner doesn't successfully appeal a compliance order. Last year, the city removed more than 69,000 square meters of graffiti from 7,500 separate sites. Pumpkin fans packed the Roland Arena on Saturday for a fall tradition that is big in every sense. The Roland Pumpkin Fair returned with family-friendly fun, including a petting zoo, magic show, pumpkin drop, and the main event, a giant pumpkin weigh-off. Charlie Bernstrom of Lancaster, Minnesota took home the title again this year at 1,715 pounds after winning last year at 2,004 pounds. The champion pumpkin's name is Kevin McAllister, named after the character from Home Alone.
So Harper, our 3-year-old, watches Home Alone almost every day, and she'll do she goes like this, and so yeah, so she named it Kevin. Each year, each girl gets to name a pumpkin, and that's what Harper named hers.
Second place was by Corny Banman from the RM of Stanley with 1,522 pounds. Bernstrom says he never pre-weighs his pumpkins, adding to the surprise. He says the best part of growing giants is the people, especially seeing and chatting with fellow growers in weigh-offs year after year. It's the sport you remember playing in gym class taken to a whole new competitive level. Dozens of athletes from across the country descended on Ontario this weekend for the first ever Dodgeball National Championships. CTV's Karis Mapp has more on the growing sport.
Best dodgeball players in Canada hit the courts in Waterloo this weekend for the sport's first ever national championships.
Dodgeball Canada has been an organization for almost 10 years. We had a lot of club teams coming together to play our nationals every year. Our membership grew to the point where we have so much participation, we wanted to support provincial sport organizations.
With every province now able to run its own program, about 150 athletes from 5 provinces came to compete for the title.
We have Alberta, Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, and British Columbia here.
5 men's and 5 women's teams, all throwing themselves into contention.
The matches are 40 minutes in length, 20 minutes per half. You play as many points or sets as you can in that 40 minutes.
Athletes of all levels got in on the action, from former college players to first-time competitors.
I was lucky enough to be introduced to the community fairly early for the sport, I guess. And then from there, it kind of took off. Toronto specifically has a really great community, very encouraging and very inclusive.
It's a really good outlet for those that are looking for a new competition outlet and not necessarily playing in their own primary sport they would have grown up with.
Definitely not the sport you remember from your high school days in gym class. Organizers say this version of dodgeball combines strategy, athleticism, and competitiveness, but an element of camaraderie is always maintained.
Our slogan or our motto is, you know the game, now it's time to meet the sport.
You are doing the most unruly things to your body. It is insane. You're getting smoked in the face. You're diving across the floor. There's really nothing like it. Like, this sport is amazing.
For many, just being part of the inaugural tournament is a win in itself.
I've been doing this for 18 years. Had the honor of coaching Team Canada and coaching many, many other events. So to do something for the first time this late in your career is always exciting.
Bragging rights and a trophy may be the prize for this tournament, but for most, it's about the connections made and the love of the game.
It doesn't matter how old, what shape, what experience, who you are. Dodgeball welcomes everybody, and anybody can play.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Waterloo.
Taking a look at the current traffic situation on Donald Street, bit of a lineup. Folks are filing in to downtown, or to St. Boniface rather. The northbound lanes over the St. James Bridge, meanwhile, remain closed. That is causing traffic to back up quite substantially along other routes. And traffic lights are flashing red in all directions at Abinogi-Mikana and Shore Hill Drive. If you have any traffic tips or updates to share, please text them to us at 10400. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.34. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.28. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.26, and the lowest place in the city is $1.22. All this information is on GasBuddy.com.
The Price at the Pump is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your card today.
Time now to turn to the answers to our question of the day. We wanted to know, which nonprofit organization would you like to give a shout out to? And Marlene wants to give a shout out to Siloam Mission for all their hard work. Yes, they really go the extra mile. Thank you so much for your responses, and make sure to keep sending them tomorrow. Joseph Bernacki has been joining us all this morning, telling us about Fire Prevention Week. He is down at the WFPS Training Academy. How's the morning been treating you, Joseph?
It's been great, Catherine. It's always a pleasure getting to spend time with WFPS. At this time, for our final segment, very pleased to be joined by Lauren Federer. She is a senior firefighter with WFPS. Pleasure to have you on our show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
The focus for the segment, of course, is having an escape route should a fire take place inside your home. How important is it to have access to something like this in case the main door to your house is blocked?
Yeah, it's really important to have an escape plan with your family. Most importantly, 2 ways out of every room. You want to make sure your windows open freely, doors aren't blocked, and you're able to get out should one of those exits be compromised in any way.
And this chart to your right kind of illustrates what you were just talking about, how you have your primary and secondary choices.
Yeah, so this is an example of a house. The red arrows indicate a primary exit, and the yellows are like a window, a secondary exit. So you can see every room has 2 ways out, and then they all lead to a meeting spot. So another really important thing is to have a meeting place outside your home, a safe distance away. So should something go wrong, you know everyone's accounted for when they meet at this place.
So WFPS, of course, will use this unit here as an example. If we take a walk inside and let's say this front door here is blocked, we have other options. We're going to walk over to this window here. What would you say, Lauren, for people with mobility challenges, of course, other people that might be at risk inside a home?
Yeah, it's important to have a plan should you have any elderly people in the house that need help, any children that are in cribs. You want to make sure you have a plan, who's going to grab them, who's going to help them out. Just go over a scenario. You can even rehearse it in your family, this is another option. Obviously, someone with mobility issues can't get out the window, so you got to find an alternate arrangement.
And again, same thing. If the fire's taking place on the first floor and you got to go out the second floor, wait for WFPS crews to show up to help you get through that window.
Yeah, it's really important that you close the door to the room you're in. That prevents smoke and fire spread. And then you want to throw things out the window, grab people's attention, wave your hands if you have a flashlight in the night, and it'll be the priority of the fire department arriving to put a ladder up here and get you out.
Well, we appreciate these conversations we've been able to have with you, Lauren, and the rest of the team, of course, with WFPS. For more information on Fire Prevention Week and everything, check out the link on our website.
All right, thanks for all of this morning, Joseph. Heading up to the rooftop with Terry Apostle, more bundled than I gather you've probably been in a good many months.
Yeah, I mean, first time this season that I had to reach for this layer. But now that I'm standing out here in the sunshine, I'm thinking, it won't be long before I'm peeling it off. I just want to show you one more time before I dump this out. All of the rain, I'm sure that you had similar amounts in your backyard. I don't know if you've got a rain gauge or not. Ours is registering just over 40 millimeters of rain. And I don't even know where to put this because my flowers certainly don't need it. There's a drain back here. That's where it's going. Anyway, empty this out for the next round of rain, and that's probably not going to come until this weekend on Sunday. I said earlier, as we're wrapping up the weekend, it's a long weekend this weekend, but on Sunday there is the possibility of some precipitation. So just all things to keep in mind there. Temperature-wise, though, it's 2 degrees. It's cool this morning, but that is in fact normal. We won't make those gains that'll keep us on par with seasonal, though. 13 degrees a normal daytime high, and we might be just a couple degrees shy of that today. Clear sky for now, but the clouds will build up through the day, and through central and northern Manitoba, where you're already dealing with some clouds, you'll likely have a bit of precipitation as well. Maybe even some mixed precipitation. A few flurries could fly this morning in parts of northern Manitoba, where your temperatures are just around the freezing mark right now. We've got warmer weather to come later on this week, but the next couple of days below seasonal. We'll see the clouds increasing today, but back to the sunshine tomorrow, and then sunshine through the rest of the week with those temperatures by about Wednesday starting to climb back up above seasonal once again. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply. While Halloween may not be top of mind for everybody just yet, it certainly was for families in Ottawa on Sunday. Thousands of kids experienced the spirit of Halloween a few weeks early at the annual Ottawa Treat Accessibility Halloween Village. CTV's Camille Wilson was there.
For Sarah LaBelle and Derek Robinson, seeing their little ones participate in Halloween festivities hasn't always been easy.
We've always have found it challenging to be able to go up, and the fact that Jackson's able to get candy himself in his own bag is pretty amazing.
Their kids, Jackson in a wheelchair and Knox, who is autistic, are going door to door at the 4th annual Treat Accessibly Halloween Village in Stittsville.
If people could realize that not everything is accessible, and more people bring their treats down to the end of the driveway, it means so much to families like ours.
The event put on for children with mobility, sensory, and intellectual disabilities.
In 2017, my daughter and I were putting pumpkins on the stairs to our door, and we looked up and we saw a little boy using a wheelchair, and it occurred to us that he couldn't trick-or-treat at our house because of the stairs. So our daughter and I created a lawn sign, which, like you would say today.
Since then, Accessible Halloween Village has grown to other cities and to more than 250,000 homes across Canada.
The fact that we can all do something together, we can all enjoy it together, that's like the big thing. Like, we look forward to it every single year.
The event aims to foster a more inclusive Halloween by bringing together neighbors and families of all abilities.
Being a part of a family that has a child with a disability, it's nice to come here and meet other families that are similar to ours.
And creates barrier-free trick-or-treating stations so all children can participate.
The goal that we have for the future is 1 million homes treating accessibly by 2030, making Halloween the most accessible night of the year in communities, not only in Canada but the world. And we want to show our children that for them we can adapt to anything together.
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Are you ready for fall? Well, if not, some great ideas are coming your way. Afia Francisco joins me this morning, fashion and lifestyle expert. She does it all. Afia, great to see you again.
Always so nice to see you, Terry. Thank you for having me.
I am excited to check out some of the fashion that you're going to be showing off today, because I know that's one of the first things, because I follow you on Instagram and I have been obsessed with some of the looks that you showcased online. So what have you got for us today?
Thank you for saying so, Terry. And if you know me, you know that I'm all about minor adjustments, not complete overhauls, because, you know, we don't want to do that. We want to make really thoughtful additions to our wardrobe. So this look here is from Winners, and this is the quintessential fall colors. If you can see, it's kind of like the palette of a fallen leaf. If you can picture like a landscape in the fall, these are the colors we're going to be gravitating towards in the fall. Of course, Winners has awesome options, and those subtle adjustments are really going to update everything you already have. Similarly, the look that I have here, this one is from Marshalls, and this is the quintessential patterns I'm talking about now. Here specifically, I'm talking about plaid. So those deep, moody patterns are really just going to inject that infusion of this season, and it just feels really topical. And both brands, of course, what's great about them is that they're both made up of like luxurious fabrics. I'm talking cashmeres, wools, designer labels, at, of course, amazing prices. And I also want to talk about accessories, Terry, because this is a really simple one as well. These glasses are from Specsavers. We're really seeing that trend leaning towards transparency. So transparent in terms of that you can kind of see through it, but there may be a bit of a hue to it. So this one might read a bit darker, but it's like a beautiful transparent blue. We have clear. If you want to go into store at Specsavers, or of course online at specsavers.ca, they'll hook you up. They'll find a pair for you that's perfect for your face shape, and that can be your signature that carries through for the season, that new pair of glasses.
I love that, right? The statement accessories, but then some of those looks that you showed off, they're very classic. The colors are perfect, the textures, all of that. You'll have those in your wardrobe for a long time, so it's a worthwhile investment. Okay, not just the wardrobe, let's talk about home and how we can inject some fall there.
Yeah, so this, again, simplicity is going to be our key word, Terry, in terms of time, in terms of budget. So these are simple swaps. Changing some cushions, adding a new throw, leaning in again to that really fall autumn palette and materials, like a little bit of heavier set, whether it's just like a candle that you're lighting. But these moments can just be obviously increased upon each year. You don't have to get everything at once, a cushion here, a throw there, but these minor micro moments are really going to elevate your look for the season.
I love that. I'm getting ready for these cozy nights in. Let's talk about mindfulness, because you have some great ideas there as well.
Yeah, because you know what, this is the season when the days start to get shorter, it's a bit darker, and we can start to feel a bit like humdrum, winter's on its way. But I'm going to say this is a perspective shift. So where we can, we're going to indulge in moments of little micro moments of joy. So whether that's swapping your iced latte into like a delicious cafe like experience. I have Gaily whipped cream here, and it's 100%. It's so good, and it's chocolate. It's a chocolate flavor made out of 100% Canadian cream. So it's actually delicious. It's luxurious, and you could be in a cafe, but you're just at home. So it's those little moments that don't have to be expensive, but just are thoughtful and with intention. Same thing. Get outside, enjoy sunshine, a few moments of gratitude journal, and you can just shift your entire day, and that changes the season.
And I love that you've taken something at home, so you're perhaps being a little bit more economical, but still elevating it to that bougie experience at the same time. Afia, you've done an incredible job sharing some of these tips with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Lovely to see you.
Looking outside, we got Bud the Bug back joining us for the last few minutes of the show. 2 degrees right now, probably staying warm on our camera. Do you think our camera's warm? Maybe. Maybe warmer than anything else. Who knows? I just made that up. Anyway, it's sunny out there. Look how gorgeous and clear with winds out of the west-southwest, 17 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity sitting at 94%. Probably not. I feel like glass would actually probably seem cold, right? As far as surfaces go. Anyway, whatever. I'm not that worried about Bud the Bug. He's gone now. We're looking at the clear sky here through the south central northern Manitoba. There's already some clouds. We'll see those clouds building. We'll see that sunshine then disappearing for today, but it'll be back again tomorrow. However, the next couple of days below seasonal temperatures, 13 degrees, a normal daytime high. So we will have a cool start to the week. We'll have a dry week ahead though, which we're going to need after all that rain fell over the weekend. And with that sunshine, some warmth. Temperatures headed up into the mid to high teens, even some low 20s. And then after a week of warm, dry weather, we've got some rain expected for the end of the weekend. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Welcome back to Your Morning Winnipeg. We're going to close you off with our cute videos to send you on your way laughing. A historic book market in Cairo has turned the page on a new era. The market has been open since 1907. Sellers used to lay their stock out on the ground, but a new design includes 133 kiosks. Well, I'd love to browse there.
Brilliant idea.
Some things, they take their time to catch on. Okay, a Colorado man's best pal is also his best hiking partner.
Time I got my hiking bag, he would get like really ecstatic. Come on, buddy.
Jonathan and his dog Jackson have taken on the state's toughest mountains, all more than 14,000 feet. They've done all 58 of them in Colorado. Oh my goodness. Oof, couldn't be me. Okay, some cool canines put on their Sunday best for a fancy fashion show.
Bravo, give it up, Roby.
The 10th annual Byword Bark It in Ottawa sees pups decked out in all sorts of fashions. There were aliens, Taco, Trump, of course, Galinda, and Elphaba from Wicked.
Oh, I love it.
And even a cow. Better costumes than I'll have this year, I tell you. All right, that's going to do it for us. Bye, Bud the Bug. See you tomorrow.